Oh, live. Testing, testing. A 1, a 2, a 3. Can you all hear us all right?
Let's begin.
Put an eggplant in chat if you can hear us.
God damn it, no.
God damn it, yes.
Let's try the virtual camera. Okay, that doesn't seem to work.
Yes.
I'm just going to, fuck it, I'm gonna go... No, I'm just gonna, like, turn off the camera in general. Sorry, I was hoping you guys could see my face, but, yeah, this is gonna be a simpler setup. It's mostly just gonna be talking. Oh, there's Mason with the eggplant. Oh, dear God. Anyways,
oh, should I ping people? I don't know if...
I already pinged your I already pinged the Collab server. I don't know if anybody said anything, though.
I'm gonna ping everyone again anyway.
Anyways, greetings one and all. Welcome aboard. Again, this is stream setup is gonna be pretty simple. We're just here to, like, now the collab's finally over, although people can do whatever they want with the collectors. We're just here to kind of discuss, like, how it started, like, the process, and what we feel like could have we could have done better. Because trust me, there's a lot we could have done better. The fact that it took 3 years to finally finish says a lot. We didn't even. I remember we actually promised
four
to do
feature-length movies.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff that got into it. We even promised certain stuff to do, like, certain extra stuff. Like, remember when we said, like, we were going to do, like, a Hunger Games with a lot of the collectors? That never happened, and honestly, I don't have the interest to try to do that.
We're gonna be, like, ranking videos or something.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. Today we'll be ranking the top 10 collectors.
Oh fuck! Oh fuck! No. If I'm gonna have someone, if I'm gonna have someone do a countdown on collectors, I'd rather be someone with, like, passion, soul, vision. You know, not a corporation, because those are the countdowns I strive for. The ones I choose to emulate.
Look me in the eyes.
When you started out.
Look me in the eyes and tell me it wouldn't be hilarious to have, like, a Watch Mojo style collector video. Like, come on.
Honestly, I'd be flattered if nothing else.
Right.
No, no, not really.
Well, honestly, Shade, I think you're selling yourself a little bit short. Yes, there were setbacks, some of which we knew were going to happen. Others just, you know, no one really could have seen coming.
I mean, you had to go out for 6 months. That one definitely couldn't have been helped.
Exactly, but be that as it may, I really don't think we should undersell, like, just what we were able to accomplish with this whole collab, because in terms of sheer scale, I don't think there's been very many projects like it.
Still, we
on
easily
BioTube at least.
Still, I think at the very least we could have finished it. We could have, like, stitched everything together a lot sooner. At the very least.
Regardless, I'm not terribly interested in ruminating over, like, stuff we could have done better, or at least not yet. I would like to kind of go over the history of the collab itself, because there's a lot of stuff that some people kind of already know, and a lot of stuff I know for a fact people don't know about how this whole thing started, and I think it would be more interesting to discuss that, because Arcstone, as part of the collab itself, was a latecomer to the project.
I don't know most of the story.
Yeah, most of the story takes place between me and Shade, and right now what I'm gonna do, if you don't, unless Shade, there's anything else you want to say before I launch into the history of the thing.
I'm just looking at the comments. Ethan Rogers, so what happens with Zarek now that ManiaMac's universe is gone? I mean, you saw what happened. I mean, you saw Zarek during the post-credits scene.
He's doing his own thing now.
You know Prime Zarek's still around, like, doing stuff.
I mean, unless you haven't seen the last part yet, I know I've gotten some comments saying they finally watched the final part. I mean, to be fair, it's 2 hours long. I don't expect most people to sit down.
It's 2 hours long. It's a movie.
Yeah, I don't expect everyone to, like, sit it down in one sitting.
Be that as it may, like, if you haven't watched part 4 yet, what are you doing here? Go watch part 4. Just watch the VOD later. Otherwise, none of this is gonna make sense.
They want to hear our sexy voices.
Oh yeah, I know they do.
Oh yes.
Oh, you thought you were gonna be hearing about the collectors, but it's actually an ASMR stream.
Yes.
Should I?
stands for Arcstone.
Let me take off my shirt.
Do you want to hear some Legos clinking together? Oh, you like that, don't you? It's still wrapped up in the bag.
Oh dear. Ethan, I've seen it, but I want to see more of him just being a nut job and harassing the universe. I mean, that's kind of what we kind of left the collab open-ended so that people can, like, still do whatever. Max still has some plans, Ark still has some plans. I don't. In fact,
Oh my god, I have plans.
yeah.
Oh, you have too many plans. You have too many.
Yeah.
Jesus
So many.
Christ.
Yeah,
God help me.
I'm pretty much done. I'm pretty much done. I'm going to be making an announcement soon enough. There's just one other thing I got to deal with. It's I'm just gonna say it's not fun. Mac probably knows what I'm talking about, but I'm just gonna keep quiet about it for now.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, I guess we can start with the history. Hey, Rick.
Okay, shall I tell people of the storied history of this collab?
In the time before time.
Way back in the dark time of 2020, me and Shade had an idea. It started with Jaller.
Hi guys. I really should try my make it to the collab. We had a lot of fun.
So, like, the two initial proto concepts for this thing was something about, you know, biotube Jaller, not canon Jaller, because canon Jaller sucks. Nobody talks about canon Jaller. Whenever you hear someone mention Jaller, they're never talking about canon Jaller.
What about
Anyway.
Takua? What about that?
Anyway, and then the other concept was the whole, like, multiversal Xerix thing. That idea predates, like, even the concept of the collab itself by a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I established the multiverse for my universe, at least, like, all the way back in, like, what was it, 2016, I think? But I never really did anything with it. Because I fully intended to just finish Hearts of Vengeance and never touch it again. Well, that plan didn't pan out, did it? But so yeah, we thought it would be fun to make another collab, kind of a la the Bionicle Battles collab that I'd done previously. But we were like, well, okay, we've done randoms, we've done the battle collabs, like.
I did my musical
What can we
collab.
do that's...
Thank you, YouTube, for taking that down. Thank you for that.
Thanks, YouTube, you piece of shit.
I
But...
still have in files.
Yeah. So we were thinking, well, okay, we've done all these before. What could we possibly do to make this collab different? Like, how could we do this differently? So we thought, well, okay, what if instead of it being around a specific theme or having everyone make like a specific type of video, what if it was this whole big branching narrative that was like only really loosely connected but still took place in the same general sphere of the same story?
Yeah, something to get like everyone together. I remember making a community post about that.
Exactly.
And I mean everyone.
Anybody could join, anyone could contribute. There were specific guidelines you had to follow, but they were specifically meant to be very flexible and wibbly to encourage like creativity, and so that like one entry wouldn't necessarily contradict the events of another. And then it would start in one place, it would branch out and balloon into this whole big overarching story, and then all the little plot threads would converge back into an ending. What the ending was, we didn't really have that fleshed out at the time. We only knew that it would involve tentacles. That was one of the oldest concepts we had for the collab, was the tentacles.
Red Boy Wolf asks, where's Scararg was Mac made Scararg long after he made the entry, and Drazen what happened to Drazen? Where is he now?
I don't fucking know.
Figure it out.
No, more Disney songs. Yeah, no, not unfortunately. We're not getting that Madara. And technically, I already made a to be prepared music video back in my early days. That was shit. Oh yeah, oh yeah, I'm probably gonna be swearing into the stream. I don't usually swear on this channel, but screw it. Anyways.
ManiaMac is into
Cross.
what, tentacles confirmed?
Uh,
No, I'm not. You are.
I'm just gonna add a language warning.
Language warning. We say the fuck word in this stream.
Save.
Okay, should we all say it on 3?
On 3.
2,
1.
What?
2. Wait, are we in sync?
No, we're not. I said on 3. Shade started at
On 3?
3.
Sorry.
Okay,
sorry.
on 3 from 1. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Fuck!
Good enough.
Oh, dear.
5.
Ugh.
Fuck
God damn it, what the hell was I talking
Fuck
about?
you very, very much.
Collab. Tentacles.
Yeah.
Tentacles.
Yeah.
You were talking
Yeah.
about tentacles.
Hentai.
So, I was kind of being disingenuous. So the idea Shade had was that like the boxes of parts you had like became animated or started moving of its own accord. It was meant to like, I don't know, represent primordial chaos or something. That was the original concept. We ended up going with tentacles erupting out of everywhere in the multiverse because that was just a bit easier to animate and keep consistent. Because, you know, CCBS pieces are cheap and they're everywhere, so easy to make tentacles.
Flexible and sturdy.
Exactly. But then, as we were, you know, brainstorming this as, at the time, purely theoretical collab. Like, keep in mind, this was almost a year before we got the thing really in motion. I was like, well, okay, so we have this idea for the collab, but, like, there needs to be an antagonist, right? And not everyone has Jowler. He can't be everywhere at once, so we're gonna need something totally different.
I don't remember him
So I was
being
like,
like an antagonist. I don't remember that being part of plans. I think I did have an idea of like a Jowler's Bizarre Adventure where like the thing was just Jowler, but that didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, something like that. But I was like, well, okay, how about to make it consistent, we have this race of antagonists that anybody could build, right? The template for collectors was supposed to be very simple. They use very, very common pieces for a reason, right? It goes into the idea of this being accessible to both like old biotubers and new biotubers. So I took maybe a day or two to like brainstorm it. So all the way back in 2020, I had the basic idea for collectors in mind. So I was like, okay, so we have this race of aliens that's like a multiversal threat, but they need to be overpowered without being straight up invincible. So I came up with like 3 caveats. Okay, so they can't necessarily copy skills. So just because they have a power, it doesn't mean they instantly have total mastery over them necessarily. That ended up being a little wibbly between like, you know, various interpretations, but that's fine. Some people went ahead with that idea and made that like a legitimate weakness for their collectors to have, which was fine. Volcross specifically did not have this weakness because he glomped an AI that let him basically learn at a lightning fast speed, so he didn't have that vulnerability. But yeah. But here's the most important one. They can't copy powers that aren't native to that universe. That was a big one. That was like the big one, right? Because if they could just go to any universe and copy any power they wanted, well, like, come on, they'd be borderline invincible after like
wasn't there like one
not
or two
too long, right?
Wasn't that there were like 1 or 2 collectors that ended up breaking that rule or at least stretching it enough? I feel like
there's at least one that I can think of. I think his name starts with an X or starts with an S and ends with a Trudex.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Captain, I wish I was part of the collab of life stuff. I mean, to be fair, you were part of the collab voicing one of the most popular collectors, Captar, so he's still part of it.
It ended up being like not that big a deal because I was like, well, okay, just because collectors are supposed to work a certain way doesn't mean there can't be exceptions, because like Strudex, I don't know, took drugs or something that modified the way his powers worked. to where it wasn't like
Copied a device designed to help cure cancer.
sure,
No,
yeah, something like that.
No, he snorted magic cocaine that gave him
Medical
that.
device.
Yeah. So like instead of copying every power from one universe, he can copy one power from every universe. So like it's different. And then Keftio is a sorcerer whose powers draw from magic rather than his innate abilities. And he can also summon meteors, which Arcstone pointed out to me. Who the hell in Bionicle Legacy could just summon meteors out of nowhere? And how long have they been sleeping on that power?
You know. Well, well, to be fair, if they summon a meteor and destroy the planet, then that means they're almost gone too.
With that, like,
yeah,
regardless,
sure.
like, in my mind, I always thought, like, Bionicle Legacy operated on, like, a lower power scale than my universe, and then Keftio whipped that out of fucking nowhere, and I was like, you know, maybe I was wrong.
I mean, to be
like,
fair, I could have always
Ceres can't just summon meteors out of nowhere. He has to fly out into space, find one, and then drag it back to the planet himself. He can't just, like, summon it out of nowhere.
I mean,
there
was always magic in Bionicle Legacy, but I never really used it to its full power.
Like, Keftio, like, was kind of the joke character, or, like, a joke villain for most of the collab, and then, like, in the last act, he was like, actually, I'm one of the most powerful collectors, like, in the whole thing.
And all he had to do was copy the right people. It's
a really cool turnaround there.
And
the multiverse's deadliest incel. Oh dear. Ugh, thank goodness he's dead. Honestly, like, the idea of an incel with, like, the power of a god is just frightening in a way even Singularity just simply isn't.
Truly horrific.
No,
Truly horrific.
No, it's not like we don't have powerful incels in real life, but that's as far as I'll go there.
Yeah, shit, what was I talking about?
Keftio, the incel.
Keftio, the magical incel.
Was a horny, happy soul.
Was he happy? He didn't seem
really.
terribly happy. No, he wasn't, because he couldn't get laid.
I mean, being abused by, I was gonna joke that Zonthra was his ex, but that wouldn't really work.
Oh yeah, because a woman was mean to him once, that justified him being a horrible planet-destroying incel. Sure. Okay.
Okay. Who's stronger, Walking Force is able to conquer entire universe, or some magician dude? Do not underestimate magic.
Yeah, magic just breaks all the rules. Like, it just bypasses normal power scaling in a way that's really hard to quantify.
I mean, unless you have specific rules.
I think Keftio did it well, though.
Oh, he did it very well, yeah.
Yeah, him being so emotionally driven, it really added that extra kind of caveat in the fact that he's such a dramatic little shit, which was ultimately kind of the key to his undoing there.
Exactly.
Really
I mean, I think I think I need something to like counter Zonthra's ability, just absorb the life force and strength from her enemies. You know, like something to also be powerful, because like powerful ability versus powerful ability.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of which, her feet keep breaking, like the little pieces. I really need to make a stand for herself, because I've lost so many feet pieces because of that.
So many feet.
Well, she said like tiny feet.
Those
tiny feet for such a big woman. That's why she needed so many of them.
Oh dear God.
Was there a natural pause or what? Everyone just got suspiciously quiet on me.
I don't know. I'm just looking at. I'm looking at comments. Red Boy Wolf. I know.
I just had to talk to someone for a minute.
Okay.
Red Boy Wolf is asking about Time Undone.
What's that? Never heard of it. I'm sure it'll be finished at some point.
I mean, Bluey. The reason why I'm not usually returning here is because that's how I start on this channel. So that's how I started. So it would feel weird to change now. I tend to be more mature on my stream channel.
No, you don't.
Okay, what I'm gonna say more. It's not PG, high PG 13, should I say?
Sure.
Hell, you
Yeah,
should see
fair
the
enough.
you should see the mod I made last year.
Oh man,
I haven't actually played that.
that thing was a doozy.
I've read some of the scripts, but
Well, to be fair, like you can
so-
if you like download more than like try to play more than one or two at once, the game will crash. I made it too big. Even after splitting like 4 parts. Jesus.
oops.
Jeez.
Oh dear. But yeah, anyway.
You're
So,
we were talking about the collab,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
we
yeah.
were,
yeah.
weren't we?
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah.
We want to. Like, I'm looking at this list here. Do we want to move on to the process of the collab itself, since we've kind
Right.
of gone over the history?
One more thing I will mention.
Might as well.
There were 2 ideas that I had that never made it in. Like one of them was like very early. Was like, I don't know. Maybe if I include Jowler, or maybe I could have him like go through actual character development and then get some sort of final Super Saiyan form or something. That never ended up happening.
Which would be
Well, I
funny,
mean-
but like at the same time, I don't know if it's really like in the spirit of the character to actually have serious character development. So, 'cause
Right.
at that point,
Am I
he
actually
just-
stuffed enough?
at that point he just becomes Cannon Jowler, but like more powerful, and I don't know how interesting you could make that.
I mean, we could pull out Eldritch Jowler.
Ugh, no, we shouldn't. No, that's a terrible idea.
And then another one that was quickly shot down. I brought it up in community post. Was like for the finale, like a collector enter the human world, and then I don't know, that was like I don't know, become a moon or a meteor and try to crash into the earth, and then the in real life biotubers would have to stop them.
I think that was the only idea that you had that I was just straight up like, no, let's not do that.
I actually did. So, I had a concept like that at one point. Just, I think it was an 11 p.m. thought, where I had the idea of just getting a friend, like a really tall friend, to dress up as Strudex and film him beating me up or something.
Oh no, I don't know. I was just thinking just like a collector that's just a moon with an eye and a spike coming towards the earth.
Yeah,
If I
that'd probably
spiked,
be Gary, right?
if I spiked my hair up, I could probably pull off a Strudex in real life. But that's kind of getting beside the point.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
can you
I
Willem
was like,
Dafoe?
Strudex is lanky. That's the whole point. Strudex is buffs. You could snap Strudex over your knee like a twig.
This is true.
I don't know. I guess we could put you into costume, just have like Kafdar dub over you.
That would look even. But this is what I'm talking about, right? Like, watching Biotube generally, like, let's be real for a second. You already need to have a pretty high suspension of disbelief in order to, like,
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
buy into the whole Bionicle stop motion thing. But it's fun. We know we don't do this professionally. We do this because it's a hobby we're passionate about.
Not like we can make
The
money off of
moment-
it.
Yeah, the moment you break the medium and like try to transpose it into like real life and just like completely destroy the fourth wall, that's where the immersion just like disappears. At that point it just becomes like a parody of itself. So I was like, let's not do that, shall we? There's no way to make that work and have it not just be absolutely bizarre.
Blue guy. So the ending of Amphibia. I never watched that show, so I want to know. It's on a bucket list to maybe watch at some point. But anyways. Let's see.
Strudix breaks the fourth wall, confirmed. Yeah. Okay, so that was like the whole kind of concept of the collab.
History.
Moving on to early 2021, over 6 months later, is when the thing actually got off the ground, and I made the announcement in, I think it was February of 2021?
Yeah, it was
It was late
February or
January,
March.
right?
Mm-hmm. Late January or early February, I don't remember.
Hey, console.
I could pull up. Yeah.
If only we could check.
If only.
Oh man, were the rules of collectors cannot be formed for a Frankenstein experiment? They could, not really. They could like copy. They could, as long as it's from their universe, of the universe they entered, that they can technically copy anything, including devices, magical weapons, etc. So they could do that. Almost every biotube has broken the fourth wall at some point. I wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't say that, Wolf.
I try to avoid it, typically. If I do break the fourth wall, it's a joke about breaking the fourth wall.
Was the idea of people work
Yeah,
together to make an entry, or
I
is it...
think I only ever broken fourth walls in like my joke videos, never in my main series.
I mean, Dante, it's
just
funny you should say
yeah.
that. We were kind of hoping more people would work together for their entries, but it was only like Mac and I and Mika. That was it.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But
I worked with Pug Productions, though.
that is true. You did, yeah.
Oh yeah, that one character showed up. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So the collab kicked off, and collectors just started pouring in.
Multiplying like
remember,
rabbits.
I remember that.
Yeah.
the first couple months, it was just like swarms of the thing. I was like, what the hell? There's no way.
Gus,
There's
go
It's a
ahead.
really
so
simple
many.
and really iconic design.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Like, you kind of struck gold there, honestly.
Oh yeah, like I unironically consider this like probably one of the best ideas I've ever had, because like the whole point of collectors, the whole point is that they're one species, but they're they're shapeshifters, they're adapters, they can take on any number of different traits, but they're also recognizably the same species, right?
Mhm.
They're literally described as living templates. So they start out in their very simple, very primitive base form. Then they arrive in a universe. They collect powers. They scan other physical attributes. They transform. They become collector lords, where they have their own unique personalities, motivation, power sets, etc. But they're still recognizably collectors because they all have that same like single little Borak eye and the spike on their back. Instantly recognizable.
Hell, it even works outside of Lego. Like, remember that stream I did showing off all the art I commed?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
yeah, the concept just works so well. Like a race of aliens from outside the multiverse that just show up and start taking on different attributes to become their own unique entity within that universe was such a good idea.
I'll be honest, Lloyd. We've gotten so many collectors. I don't really remember a lot of the ones that didn't show up in the entry, so I can't say what our opinions about yours. Sorry.
There
What
were
yours
literally hundreds upon hundreds of collectors
Right.
that I saw over the course of the collab, but
Well-
here's the problem. I gave people a year, like the rest of 2021, I should say, to make their entries, and we got to, I think it was either June or July, and I'd seen like ideas, I'd seen rough drafts of scripts. I had not seen one entry yet. So I was like, that's concerning. That's when we started to notice that, okay, maybe this would be even more complicated than we originally thought. So
Well, I mean, yeah. Animation is a long process, though. I mean, I get it.
And we had
Obviously, the
right, and we wanted them to
production was
give us
gonna pick
scripts
up
first.
towards the end of the year, but
yeah, exactly. But the other half of that was that I said, okay, I want you guys to stop focusing on building collectors. We've seen a lot of collectors. Like, that's cool and all, but that's not the point of the collab. The point is to get the videos out so we can actually make the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then things started getting really complicated really fast.
I remember when
Oh,
everybody was
boy.
asking about like, what about this? What about this? What about this? Like, even I wasn't starting to. Even I was like, I don't know.
I think one question that broke me was like, what would happen, like some rando asked, what would happen if a collector tripped over a tree branch and a spike struck a tree and broke the spike? Would it kill it? I'm like, what the fuck is wrong
the
with
spike
you?
breaks, it dies.
I'm not answering that question. Like, this part always kind of frustrated me, because, like, the whole goddamn point of collectors was that they start off as
There
a
are
template,
Minimum rules.
minimal rules, right? And so many people, like, they wanted to like get into the weeds of like how the collector species specifically worked. They wanted to like make their collector like a unique mutant collector or something like that. I'm
I
like,
almost did that, and I'm so glad I didn't. Thanks for calling me out on that, by the way.
Yeah, no, very early on, actually, long before you actually like showed up into the collab process itself, you showed me your script. I was like, I mean, this isn't how
Don't make them
collectors
mutants.
work. It's like, Jesus Christ, that completely defeats the point of collectors. Why aren't people listening to me? Jesus Christ.
I do
Yeah,
remember
thanks for calling me out on that.
I do remember at least twice. One of them was after the collab. Someone was asking like, "How do I make like the biggest and best collector?" And I was like, "How about you focus most powerful?
No.
How about you focus on making a character first? Make a good character, good design."
Shouldn't you be more worried about like actually being good?
Exactly.
Lol.
Exactly. I remember one of them.
Yeah.
For the sake of privacy, and so I will not say who they were, but even they were like showing what the collector concept they had. And it was like, okay, this person's young. They don't exactly have the skills yet. So if you're trying to make the biggest and best collector, I'm sorry. I think you might need more experience. Focus on them being good.
Like, you can't make the biggest and best collector because so many collectors think they're the biggest and the best of them all. That's kind of the problem.
Exactly, and then it kind of goes to like it kind of leads to an ego problem. I could say, my collectors are some of the biggest and best. I could say Mac. Well, I mean, technically you made Singularity. That is one of the biggest and best ones, most powerful ones.
Yeah,
But then again, at least we have an excuse because we're the one in charge of this damn thing.
Yeah, but like that was the idea I had was that I wanted both veteran biotubers and new people to be able to come into this project because this was an excellent opportunity for newer biotubers who didn't really have a lot of subscribers and didn't really have a large platform to like, get people interested. This was their opportunity to be part of a really big project, right? Here's the problem. They had ideas that they simply were not equipped to actually finish, right?
Yeah.
Because, like,
I get it.
Yeah, like, I wrote a script for, Volcross attacking my universe. I ended up cutting almost half of that script down just to keep it, like, within the hour-long time limit. And I still needed an extension to finish it. Like, to be fair, I was extremely busy at the time, just with work in general, not just the collab. Even with that, like, I still barely was able to finish the damn thing. That was after cuts.
Right.
And people were showing me scripts that were longer than mine, with more characters. And I was like, are you sure you're actually going to be able to finish this thing?
I mean, my entry was just going to be Zonthra, but then I had the idea of Keftio and then added him in, and then script got longer.
Like we weren't immune to it either, but like these were new people who like had these grand ambitions, and then they started to try and actually make their video, and they got immediately burned out and dropped out because like they just bit off way more than they could chew.
To be fair,
like, it was just too much for them.
To be fair, I do think I do personally put some of the blame on us since we kind of because we kind of had this because we kind of set out that ambitious tone, and not everyone's equipped to deal with it. Dreadful Wolf. What happened to General Akron? Okay, I thought Akron was gonna be more to it, but ended up not.
He
so
he fully died.
Yeah.
He
So
just
in the
died off screen.
the scene at the end of part 3, when Burst meets Inferno, that dead body Burst finds, that's Akron. Because that
Akron died, Theta 7 died. They don't matter.
Yeah,
I don't know why people get obsessed over my throwaway characters so much.
I did think Akron was going to make to the finale. That's why I put that. That's why during my final battle sequence in the initial entry, I name dropped him. Like, wait, where is he? Because I thought we were going to do more with him.
Why do people care more about my throwaway characters than I do? This makes no sense.
I don't know. People care about like specific characters. Like a lot of people ask questions about my mocks, and I'm honestly getting at the point like, look, I'm just kind of ready to move on. So I don't know.
Yeah, weird.
But
yeah.
Other people's servers. Are you talking about their entry? Dante, are you talking about entries? If we're going to discuss entries, that'll be later, and it'll probably be really quick. Like there's a lot.
I don't want to go over the entries like generally, but for this stream, we do not have the time to go over every entry in detail.
Yeah.
That would take hours. We're not gonna do that.
Jimmy, that was
But
Akron.
yeah.
And
He's
someone's
dead.
asking about Strudex. Should I answer that, or should I just wait
yeah,
for later?
yeah, he's your collector. You tell him.
Yeah. Okay, hang on. Red Wolf Boy Studios. What happened to Strudex and my story? What happened to my story? Indeed, what happened to my story is I got in over my head again, and I wrote like 9 sequel scripts, and I'm currently in the process of writing 3 more. I've got something like 4 story arcs planned total, and a whole roster of new characters and villains I want to introduce, with Strudex being the catalyst for this entire thing. It's absolutely wild, and I'm currently in the process of scaling it down so I can actually finish it, because I've totally fallen in love with this story. I want to get it out there. Just hold on, please. Please be patient with me, please.
Pog, you should still be able to watch the video when it's done. Like, if you go to my YouTube channel and under the live tab, that's where you should be able to see this finished stream. So if you want to watch it later. Ethan, that means you're good at making characters that spark interest. Yeah, that's true. Like, talking about the background characters that people get attached to.
Earlier today, I had to answer some questions about how the Zenthronian Empire worked. I was like, the thing is gone. Like, Lightyear ate it. But people still want to know about it.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. Sometimes we just have an let's be honest. When we first start these things, sometimes it's just because. Sometimes it's just the idea is, oh, this would be cool, and we don't put that much thought into like the nitty-gritty details. Granted, sometimes we probably should, but if we don't have a good answer, that just means, I just thought this was cool, I'm not gonna think any much more farther than that, or like, that was years ago, I'm not paying it that much mind anymore, so I don't have an answer. Like, I swear,
Yeah.
like, I would not be surprised if I still get questions about my characters, even, like, when I'm, even, like, 5 years after BioTube retirement, people are still gonna be asking, like, just stop, I just want to move on. Like, I don't want to be rude, I know people have gotten attached, but, if I don't have the interest anymore, I don't have the interest anymore. So if I can't answer, I can't answer.
Mr. Mac, how did the Zenthronian Empire work?
I don't know, go read on how the Roman Empire worked. Syntax Tsundere.
Oh dear.
Well, actually, here's everything you need to know about the Zenthronian Empire, okay? It's just fantasy Russia full of lizard people.
Fantasy
That's
Russia?
all you need to know. That was
thank you,
the
Carlos.
whole beginning and end of my idea for the Zenthronian Empire.
High-tech fantasy Russia full of lizard people.
Exactly.
And they're all scientists.
Yeah.
How long did it take
Russia, if it was inhabited by lizard people and it wasn't a total hellhole.
Lloyd, how long did it take for you to make your respective collectors? That was years ago, so I don't know. It depends on the complexity. Like the one I made specifically for the finale, Maclon. He didn't take nearly as long because a lot of it is just like mostly just CCVS bones over cloth because he's withering away.
I made Volcross in 1 day.
Yeah, it took longer for me to do, like, a lot longer for me to do Zontha. Keftio didn't take as long, but Zontha definitely took a while to build.
You had to make it stand up, right?
Yeah.
Well, also
Singularity,
also like all the armor bits, trying to make sure everything looks flush and cohesive enough.
Yeah. Singularity I just built out of spare parts, like, over the course of several days, like, a little bit later, I think.
What was the point of female Zeres? That was supposed to be the female dimension was supposed to be a plot point Mac was going to do have a finale, but that got cut.
Yeah, no time, no female VA. It just ended up getting cut. No room for it.
I mean, for future reference, you could use something like Casting Call Club to find like female VAs. That's how I found like the voice actor for my mod, as an example.
Yeah, I might have her show up later. There's a couple of post-collab scripts I have in mind where she would show up, but that I would most likely not even get to this year.
Yeah.
Maybe next year, we'll see.
Max League of Lords. I think it's part of Mac's next project.
Oh, you'll see the League of Lords, don't you worry.
Oh yeah. I'm very excited for that, honestly.
Alright.
Listen, you have to understand, right? For almost as long as Zaries has been my self-mock, I've like run thought experiments in my head of how he would stack up against various like superheroes or superhero teams. It usually comes back to Zaries versus the Justice League. I have run that thought experiment in my head more times than you could possibly imagine. And now I actually have the framing device and the mocks to make that scenario actually happen. I'm so fucking excited for this video, you have no idea.
Kafdar, female VAs are hard to find. I think that's partially because, well, let's face it, for BioTube, Bionicle was aimed mostly at a young male audience, and that's who comprises of most of BioTube in general, so yeah, in that case, yeah, it's kind of understandable why it's hard to find female voice actors.
I mean, we do have
Just lucky I've got friends in other fandoms.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd like to point out we do have a lot of girls in the BioTube community.
Right,
It's
but,
just
now,
they
but right,
Oh,
No,
absolutely.
they didn't know they were girls at the time, so it's
Well,
understandable.
right, and like, right, well, yeah, and even then, a lot of the bigger names are still the dudes. Like, I could think of several, I could think of a few female BioTubers. Noretta,
Yeah, Yep, and they
Lyra,
are
Dark Raven
constantly
Films.
strapped for VA work because there's an outsized demand for them.
I mean, yeah. To be fair, in a lot of my early years, I mostly used my family for like, well, for my family in general for roles, but especially for like female roles.
Yeah. I thought it would be funny if I tried to learn how to like do voice feminization just as like a joke. It didn't work. Like lower.
I can't. I've tried.
I mean,
My voice is just too deep and manly. It doesn't work.
Thomas, was the finale based on Bayonetta 3? I only played the first two, so I'm gonna say no, it was not based on that. And Dante, ManiaMac, about the Light Eater, will you show him again? Not saying you make a video about the
Maybe.
Light Eater, but maybe a...
You have no idea how much of a pain in the ass that thing is to animate.
Oh, I have an idea.
You know, I thought having it on 4 legs would make it easier to animate as opposed to making it bipedal. I was wrong. It actually makes it harder for some reason.
Yep.
I'm
I
guessing
hate
just because...
quadrupeds.
Yeah,
They're the
I
I
guess-
hate them. They're awful. I might
Strudex was almost a spider.
dead ass. I might
was almost a spider.
I might rebuild Light Eater just to make it bipedal because I can't stand the way that thing moves.
I think
I know we love Cthulhu Dog, but dear God, that thing is annoying to animate.
I still think the one who was able to get like quadrupedal stop motion working, BioTube stop motion working the best was Andrew Usubi. Like, remember his entry to your Battles
Yes.
collab?
Oh, his was so
Yes,
good.
it's good.
It was
Good.
so good.
I actually remember.
Really good.
I think I actually remember. It wasn't a BioTube, but it was a one-off video someone did. The stop motion. The guy sounded like a kid, but the stop motion was like surprisingly really good. It was like years and years and years and years ago. I think it was about like Spinax and like a Bionicle mock, like trying to catch a Pokemon to escape from the game. But that's some really good quadrupedal animation.
Yeah.
Someone's asking, what are some of your favorite parts of this collab that you personally worked on? Favorite scenes or
Honestly,
sequences?
for me, it was probably the shattering of Keftio's spike. That took a lot to like get it working, but honestly, I really love how it turned out.
Let's see.
Another
The
one that comes.
fight between, for me, the fight between Volcross and Zargon. Oh, that was fun.
Oh yeah.
I think I think some of my favorite parts come more from like the actual editing and how it turned out. Like when I put certain songs in and how it crescendos at certain parts, like when Lucarian does his Nova Blast at the end and how that crescendos. That was a really good part. Like,
Yeah,
do not underestimate the use of like good music and the timing of it.
I think for me, this is gonna. Don't take this the wrong way, but anytime I had to animate Singularity's tendrils, turns out that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're real good at animating tentacles there, aren't you, bud?
I told you, don't take it the wrong
Honestly,
way.
I think everybody
Speaking of Singularity,
everyone did their
let's move
tentacle.
on-
Yeah, everybody did their
Yeah.
tentacle scenes better than me. I'm just gonna say that. I was just trying to do something very simple, but no, the rest of you went above and beyond.
Yeah, so moving on to like, so after all the initial troubles with like, you know, people getting burnt out or dropping out, we still had people who powered on through and were able to crank out some really damn good entries. So they uploaded them, and then I went on my involuntary hiatus for a while, came back, did some other shit, and then was like, oh god, we have to finish this collab we started, didn't we? And
At this point, it had been like 2 years.
yeah, so I was like, we gotta actually finish the thing eventually, don't we? And then Arcstone showed up with an MOV of Singularity, which nobody else was crazy enough to actually try and build. I was like, okay,
I think that must have
goddamn,
been high.
probably. Anyway, I was like, oh, dude, we gotta get this guy out of the project. We gotta, cause like I've been struggling to figure out a way to how to actually wrap this damn thing up, and then I saw his MOV Singularity. Is like, I know what we're doing. I know what we gotta do. It's all gonna be about everyone coming together to stop Singularity. That's how we're gonna end it.
Karo Vest, also a big fan of music in the collabs, was awesome since I recognize a lot of them, Souls and From Shop music in particular. Were there any tracks you didn't end up using? I mean, my thought process with implementing music was, okay, what's the tone I'm trying to set in? What songs have I not used yet? And then I'll usually spend half an hour to an hour trying to find the right thing. Like, I'm not kidding. It takes a while to find good music, good fitting music.
I just
Just
pull
downloaded the Cure
tracks
Factory
from
guide and stuff.
I just pull tracks from Souls games that I like and just slap them onto my fights and call it a day.
I
All
used
of the
Bionicle
music,
and Hero Click.
yeah, all the music I used for my entry was either from the Demon's Souls remake or from Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
This collab was probably the most I've just used kind of like atmospheric music. Like, you know, I usually just with video game music, and to be fair, a lot of it still was game music. But this is when I was trying to find more creepy or atmospheric, which is much different from what I usually use. Okay. What was the point of being that Volcross? Because Mac felt like it.
Also want to bring back Volcross because Volcross rules.
Volcross is cool. Everyone likes Volcross.
Have you seen how many collectors look very similar to Volcross?
Oh yeah, one of the ones from the entries. It was Blazing something. His collector was pretty much a carbon copy design wise.
Yeah, like they looked.
His name was Al. They're a really good color scheme though. Like,
oh
I'm
yeah,
actually
100%.
surprised that it was very high contrast with the bright blue and the bright orange, and I'm very surprised he managed to make it work. It turned out really well.
Yeah, like bright blue and trans orange should not work together, and yet it somehow does. I don't know.
I think he balanced it really well with the dark red. I think that might have done it.
Yeah.
I think
Volcross is the golden child of collectors. I mean, that's one way to put it. Cause like, yeah.
A good color scheme goes a long way for the collectors. Like, I like to focus on like 1 or 2 colors, maybe 3 at most, and then focus around that. I mean, Keftio, white and blue, with a mix of black. Zonthra, gold, black, and purple. Maclon, it was red, silver, and trans orange with a bit of black. Try to keep it simple.
Syntrax Sundere says, "Hey, don't count out my boy Griddian." Are you kidding me? Griddian is by far one of my favorite collectors.
Everyone loves Griddian.
Griddian is great.
I'll love that theater kid.
Oh, he's so good. Yeah.
I don't know if I call him a
one
theater
thing-
kid, but I don't know. I think the theater kid collector goes to Keftio personally.
I think what made people like Volcross so much is that, like, yeah, he was this big, beefy Godzilla-looking motherfucker who is more powerful than all of my characters combined, which is saying a lot. But that wasn't what made him interesting. What made him interesting was his, like, warped moral compass, right? Where, like, he was legitimately against the idea of, like, unnecessary violence. Which, yes, makes him a hypocrite because he did some objectively horrific shit to people. He did some objectively horrible shit to people, but the entire reason he did what he did, and I don't know, I've pointed this out before, but I don't know if everyone who watched the video really picked up on this. You know those 2 Ismaeans that he initially scanned? So the 2 brothers, right? So one of them was, like, you know, just this you know, warmongering, gung-ho, bloodthirsty warrior dude. The other guy was a lot more reserved, more like open to doing like, you know, peaceful
Oh.
negotiations and whatnot. So what happened was
Put it together.
Volcross scanned both of them, right? So he got their Ismaean abilities, right? Their strength, their adaptive healing factor, stuff like that. But more importantly, what he got was he got two directly conflicting moral ideologies. Was like the first thing he scanned. That was like the basis of his personality. Were these two directly competing ideals of like peace versus conquest,
Okay,
right?
that's actually clever. That's actually clever. That's like something. That's something most people wouldn't point out unless it was like said in like a video essay or something.
Well, like I was trying to be subtle for once, and I think I maybe was a little too subtle because like people didn't pick up on it. So I was like, fine, I guess I'll explain it. So like Volcross's whole thing is that he legitimately believes in this idea of bringing peace to the multiverse by basically kicking everyone's ass until they're too afraid to challenge him or like step out of line because he'll
And the
just
funniest
kill
thing about it
them.
is that he could totally do it.
And he's powerful enough to actually pull this off, right? Because like you got to keep in mind he went up against Zeres possessed by Bionicle Satan, right? And fought him to a standstill. He's able to just blow up entire galaxies by himself. He went up against Zeres and Drazen together. They couldn't even like slow him down. He was powerful enough to actually pull it off. And he was smart enough to pull it off because he copied that AI that gave him the power of galaxy brain, right?
And if you'll excuse me, I think this brings us to a common denominator in, or what I think is a common denominator in all the best entries. And it's that the best entries in this collab are the ones that make the collectors the main characters.
Exactly, yeah.
I think there is an exception. It's Andrew Eusebius, because Sovereign, his collector, isn't really a character.
Sovereign is interesting because he doesn't even have any lines of dialogue. He never speaks.
He has one.
Personally,
He
I
does?
He has one, and I can
I
hardly
forgot.
understand it.
personally
but-
I think there are three different
think-
factors which make
forgot.
which can potentially make for a fan favorite collector. One is design, like it can come down to like color scheme or like how they're built. Like I saw a lot of bipedal collectors, but like you can still make that interesting. And hell, it's one of the reasons why I went with mostly non-humanoid collectors. I mean, Zonta is basically like a spider crab. Keftio has 4 arms. Maclon is a centipede. Second is the power set. Like, if you have like an interesting set of powers rather than just like the general generic stuff, that can make things interesting. I tried focusing on that a lot with my collectors and their abilities. And third is just personality and goals, which Mac definitely excelled with the Volcross on that one. Now, and the best ones I see, best ones probably like marry these three aspects together. But even if a collector still has like one of those things, I think that's enough to help them stand out.
Yeah, like something that made Keftio one of the most interesting collectors for me was definitely his motivation. Because most collectors were, they were like, oh, I'm just gonna conquer this universe because I can. That's something I'm powerful enough to like actually realistically be able to pull off. Keftio was not like that. He had a very, very personal motivation. Like he wasn't out to conquer the world or anything. Like he just wanted a girlfriend, and for reasons totally unknown to me, he just decided to hypnotize the one lesbian into being his girlfriend because he was like, I don't know, because he's an incel who doesn't actually understand women despite, strongly desiring them.
The first woman he saw who didn't try to kill him.
Exactly, but that makes him
hold on.
so interesting. Like, he still has the collector trait of wanting to possess things for himself, And in this case, it's women. He wants to possess women, which is horrifying, but also extremely interesting
Or,
and very different.
Very
or how like Arcstone would once. The one time gay conversion therapy actually worked.
You're spoiling it.
And
Shh.
hypnosis.
Sorry.
But yeah, Strudex was also a good example because, like, when I saw Ironclad Warlord, which is actually one of the first feature-length entries that I saw released, I was very impressed with it. Strudex, to me, very much had the, like, platonic ideal of a collector's personality. In my opinion, like, the whole arrogant, condescending, master planner type villain.
As a schemer.
He's a schemer. I mean, Volcross is also like a very smart guy, but he's not really a schemer. He's just really, really good at improvising and psychological manipulation. Strudex is a schemer. That guy likes to plan.
I think
he's real good at it.
I think it also helps that Strudex also has the most distinctive voice out of all the collectors. Like, like
he
with,
sounds like Green Goblin.
Yeah, like
he
with
sounds like Green Goblin. Like that's just a bonus.
Right, like any of the collectors, you could probably like replace them with like a different actor or different voice, but no. There's only one voice for Strudex, only one. You can't replace that.
Kaftar Wyvern did an excellent job
Yeah.
voicing Strudex.
Yeah, I mean, I don't exactly know what my motivation was behind bringing him onto the project, because I think there's usually a temptation with villainous characters to go deep with their voice. And I get why that is. It does sound quite menacing, but again, I don't know what my thought process was.
Well, whatever it is, it worked. Yeah, but all of the best collectors typically have something a little bit non-standard about them. I mean, as much as there can be a quote-unquote standard with collectors, because like Volcross was supposed to be like the platonic ideal of a Type B conqueror collector, right? He's just out to kick ass and take names, which he totally does.
Yeah, remember when
What
he's Russian?
sets him apart? No, he wasn't. That never happened. Anyway. Yeah, like he set out to do that, but what made him interesting was his motivation for doing so. His motivation, I think, was a bit non-standard compared to the other collectors. Strudex, despite being like the platonic ideal to me of like a master planner type villain, and also a very formidable physical threat, what made Strudex interesting, aside from the fact that he changed the way his powers work, is that he did not start out that way. He very much started up at like the bottom of the collector food chain, and rather than brute force his way like up through the food chain, so to speak, he very sneakily and very craftily like wormed his way into positions of power that were where like the end result was very similar, but the path he took to get there was very, very different, which I thought was interesting.
Right.
I think I think the way he does it, he knows he can't win within the food chain, so he decided to recreate the food chain, and put himself on top. And that's where he goes evil. Because normally deconstructing systems of oppression, good call, but in Strudex's case, it's not so much out of it's not at all out of altruism. He pretends it's out of altruism, but it's actually just so that he can be a god, essentially.
Yeah.
I feel like
with Strudex, there's a bit less plausible deniability. It's like the food. I want to deconstruct this system of oppression because it didn't work for me specifically.
Yeah.
And that I have problems with that.
who was the collector?
Then, as for Zonthra, like, I don't know, I think she's actually probably the most standard of collector lords as far as personality goes, like in terms of pure motivation. But her personality is she's so bitchy. I love her.
She's great.
Oh, she's amazing. Like, I kind of imagined her almost a la Ursula from Little Mermaid, sort of like yeah, a bit like
body language.
like like an opera singer who's used to being like the center of attention, sort of.
I still love the moment when
That
she was
sort
like,
of thing.
when she's demanding her free drinks. Good character moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She acts just so like utterly spoiled and rotten to the core. She's delightful.
Yeah, the only thing that could scare her is a fat furry with a shotgun.
Fat furry with a shotgun.
Well,
To be fair,
Or a
to be fair, she also scared Zarek and what's essentially Bionicle Mewtwo.
she didn't scare Zarek. She made him hornier.
I mean, do you remember? Do you remember back in my musical collab? She basically threw him out. That's enough to scare him. And like, I better run off before the broad remembers I forgot to pay her. Like, he's scared of that woman.
Yeah, that's a lot of woman. Let's talk about some other collectors that we thought were interesting. Oh yeah, back to Griddian.
Okay.
Griddian,
Griddian.
Griddian, one of the best
like-
collectors out there.
No, there's more than 2 female collectors, Red Wolf Boy. There were several throughout the entries.
There's a couple of good collectors, but Griddian to me stands out the most because here's what makes Griddian interesting, right? Is that he's almost kind of similar to Keftio in a lot of ways, where his motivations are a lot more
Emotional.
personal, a lot more emotional, a lot more personal than what is typical for a collector. But it's the whole thing with that made Legend Weaver's entry so interesting is that it was all about nature versus nurture, right? Because you had 2 collectors with a lot of that had actual voice lines. The other was damn it, I'm blanking on the name.
Tempetrax.
Tempetrax, thank you.
Tempetrax.
I'm getting my characters
Good design. Good design. Good power set.
Great
but
design.
honestly, just existed to give Zarek something to do. You know.
Oh, we gotta talk about Supernova Zay at some point, but let's get to that later.
Griddian first.
Griddian first, yeah. So, Griddian is in many ways a very bog standard collector lord, right? Because if you look at it, like he goes around collecting a whole bunch of various different powers. He has a very, very diverse move set as far as collectors go, which I think is interesting. He's power hungry. He's very territorial. That's something almost all collectors have in common. They're very territorial. They don't like it when people touch their stuff. But what makes him special is that he has what he wants already. He was raised to lordship status around friends who were actually genuinely looking out for him, and when they're threatened, he goes to their defense because he's fighting for what's his friends. That's what he cares about. It's the whole collectors wanting to collect things for themselves flipped into a heroic motivation, right?
It's something I heard. I think it was in a Full Metal Alchemist analysis of all things. The reason the character of Greed turned good in that series, he joined the good guy side, is because there is a positive element to the sin of greed, as one would say.
Was this trope talk?
In the fact that no, it wasn't. But if you want to have everything, you have to like it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, Griddian liked his friends. Therefore, when another collector lord who was not raised around friends who were looking out for him, who just showed up and just was left to its own devices, just started killing stuff and trying to take everything over. Griddian did not like that very much because his friends were in danger, and that pissed him off.
Serial. It's actually poetic how the collectors adapt to the tone of the world around them. Well, that's kind of because, like, each channel, each entry is practically, like, the creator's own voice. So, if they tend to do more serious stuff, they're going to do... The collector's going to be more serious. If they do more comedic stuff, the collector's going to be a bit more comedic. So, again, it mostly comes down to creator voice, which I think helps, like, helps the entries, like, stand out from each other.
Hey, Prime Zarek said it best, in my opinion, like... when he was trying to get under Volcross's skin, he was like, see, that's the thing. you collected all the powers from this one universe, but that means you're basically bound to obey the logic of it, right? You have to follow that universe's rules now that you've obtained its power for yourself.
Yeah.
That's the trade-off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you became the embodiment of the universe you're in. Which is why Grydion was, you know, goofy and silly outside of defending his friends, because Legend Weaver's story is by far pretty goofy and silly for the most part.
I mean, he has
But-
Lockjaw, that says enough.
Yep.
Exactly, but on the rare occasions where it actually gets serious, that makes it all the more emotionally impactful, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Taro
Arcstone
asks-
was just really well constructed narratively. I
okay.
think we can all agree on that.
Karov asks
Yeah.
which plot threads from your individual
There's not as much to
stories
say
are you
about Ravenous
happiest?
because they're just kind of they're mostly a foil for Grydion, both in terms of aesthetic and characterization. But yeah, still a pretty generic collector lord, and I think that's a good thing in this case.
Exactly. He was exactly what he needed to be, which was a point of contrast for this good collector lord who who could have turned evil, probably would have, but didn't because he was raised in a positive environment, so to speak.
I mean, by technically villainous people, but it's just,
Well,
come on,
we can
they're
overlook.
wholesome.
We can overlook that.
Almond, well,
Bogus and Finnegan are adorable and wholesome.
well,
I think
Ex-
just it doesn't matter who they're working
yeah.
for.
They're
They're
just
not
little
actually
guys.
that dangerous.
Ahmed,
They're just little guys.
I mean, Ahmed, the most well-known collectors are usually the ones that the most interesting to talk about. We have the most to say about them. Oh, see ya, Mason. Karov, asks which plot threads from your individual stories are the happiest with in this collab? I would probably say the Kefio plot one was probably the most well done for my entry in my eyes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. About the rest of you guys. What do you think? You did the strongest plot
Well,
threads in your? I mean, to be fair, most of
my-
the entries tend to focus on just one plot thread.
My entry didn't really have any plot threads besides the main one.
Yeah.
If you're talking about plot elements or plot beats, then I think the final twist. I think that was. I don't think anyone would really have remembered my entry that much if not for that.
You fool! I was 4 parallel universes ahead of you the whole time!
Almost literally.
Yeah.
Exactly, that was good. I liked how I was able to, at least in my opinion, finally make Hero Factory cool. Only took a decade and like a universal
Okay, look, I've liked Hero Factory
genocide.
from the beginning, so I resent that, but I'll let it slide.
Can
You
believe
gotta
it-
understand, you have to understand just how much so many old school Bionicle fans hated Hero Factory back in the day.
I'm mostly just.
myself included.
I mean, I'm
Hero
mostly
Factory
just
before
indifferent. I'm
Bionicle.
mostly indifferent to Hero Factory. I do think the TV show could have been a lot better. I would remember like Christian Faber himself put a comment on like my oldest Hero Factory bad video. Apparently there were a lot of plans that didn't end up going through. I feel like if I was in charge of the Hero Factory story,
I
would.
totally forgot Christian Faber commented on one of your videos.
Yeah,
I totally forgot
Yeah,
about that.
I feel like if I was
I
like
didn't even
in
know.
charge of working on the Hero Factory story, I'd want to explore I want to explore the idea of a factory that makes heroes, and the kind of moral implications behind that.
Yeah,
Then again,
well,
Lego
yes.
theme from the early 2010s.
Also, Hero Factory is
Yeah.
going to be 15 years old next year.
I'm sorry, it fucking what?
Yeah, 15 years old in June, in like
Bullshit.
in summer of 2025 next year.
What do you know?
Ugh. Anyway, yeah, I was like, well, okay, what would it take for me to actually find Hero Factory cool? Well, what if we just take everything from them, and I mean everything, and let's see how heroic they really are when they're pushed to the breaking point. Turns out pretty damn
Turns out pretty
heroic.
damn heroic.
Pretty damn heroic.
No,
They went up
Karov,
against
10 years old
like
for 10 years old next year for G2. That's what's turning 10 years old next year, Karov.
Yeah, like my God, like props to the heroes, man. These little guys
Of the two ones that are left.
of the two ones that are left, these little guys went up against like basically Skynet, and they won.
Oh wait, there
It
are actually
was
3
incredible.
left. One just wasn't involved in the finale.
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah, the ones
Are
that the ones that are, I remember still alive. Stormer, Burst, and Hero Factory Zarek. Those are the 3 I remember still being alive.
Okay, wait, no, actually there are 4 then. Because
I thought
there
Verno
was
died.
an entry I think created by Dynamax Productions.
Oh, that's right. That's
who
right.
Which also featured a Hero Factory survivor named Amp.
That's
He
right.
was
Oh my
not in the
God.
finale.
Hmm.
But he was present, and because he was involved in the collab, he is technically canon.
True, true.
So-
He has a spinny dimension travel staff that slurps.
Cool.
Dante, why did the hero Zarek mention that collectors return to the universe when in part 4 the Zarek who hunted Strudex got shocked that collectors respond and come back? Well, they found out later.
Because the Zarek that was Hunter Zarek, he told Hero Factory Zarek about this. They talk.
Yeah, the Zarek's
It
talk.
happened off screen.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean, to be-
speaking of the Zarek's, one of the whole thing with like the collaboration was like cooperation was something I was hoping people would kind of buy into more of, because one of the things with collectors is that they cannot copy powers from beings that aren't native to their universe. The intent behind that was that any character that wasn't yours, that you were borrowing from someone else, automatically has a huge advantage against your own collector lord, because they can't copy their powers. They're a total wild card. So I was hoping more people would do stuff with that, and that did not really end up happening, did it?
Yeah, the only character people that really crossed over was Zarek. Which, to be fair, Zarek is very popular. He's very well loved. But like, even when I set up Lucario Solar Beam split into pieces. Aside from your entry, there was only one other entry that used Lucarian. We put up a Hero Factory heroes going to other places. Only one entry used Stormer, and only one used Furno. No one used Raka.
Yeah, Raka.
Well, I mean, that's probably for the
technically-
best.
You know what's funny? Raka technically doesn't actually show up in the collab. It's just a simulation the whole time.
Oh dear.
So there's
Yep.
really only the 4 heroes if you count Hero Factory Zarek. Well, 5 counting
And
Amp, but like, why Amp? Because I was like, okay, so we already have the established survivors, and then the guy was like, okay, yes, and there's also this guy. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes, I literally offered to voice Stormer for you, which one person took me up on that offer, just the one, and that was that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I know.
Out of
should we
everyone,
talk about more collectors, or?
Yeah, Havoc was really disappointed he only got to voice Raka the once, and that was like in the finale. And then
Yeah.
and then Furno's,
Sorry, Havoc.
and then Furno just ended up transitioning between the start and before we ended.
Oops.
Which is
Which yeah,
Great,
trans
just
right
absolutely
Furno, trans right
fantastic.
Furno.
Kind of a bad look for us, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh well.
okay, Surge is my trans femme headcanon for Hero Factory, but yes, Furno can have some too as a treat.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think
Okay,
Surge is canonically trans, so yeah.
It's called the Zarek Core, like CORP. That's what it's called, Red Wolf.
Or is it?
I thought not even the Zareks can agree what it's called.
No, that's the joke.
Oh, I
There's
forgot
this-
about that one.
That's the joke. There's this entire multiversal alliance of Zareks, but none of them can agree on what it's called. That's why you hear so many different names.
Yeah. So, are we gonna keep talking about collectors, or are we moving on to something else now?
I mean, what other collectors do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there are a few others that would be interesting to talk about.
I mean, I like
let me think.
Ubi. I think it's a different take on the good guy collector. I do feel like Griddian is a more fleshed out version of the idea. Also, can we talk about how Mika somehow got Uncle Iroh in this bitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Like I remember you were trying to get. I think after that you were trying to get Kevin Conroy to do the Light Eater, which he was unable to do. I think that was shortly before his unfortunate passing.
Yeah, that didn't work out, did it? It really didn't.
Honestly, I was tempted to try to get someone to
hang on,
voice one of my characters, but I don't know who. But I wouldn't come up with something good, or who would be cheap enough.
There is actually another collector that I want to talk about.
Oh.
Let me just scroll through this thing I wrote to see if I can find it. Give me a second.
Yeah. Yes, that was the second voice. Yes, the second voice of Uncle Iroh was part of the collab. Syntax. The power of cameo. Mika also somehow like managed to get Bear in the Big Blue House as a cameo during one of my Hunger Games streams.
Where is it? Hold on, just.
I do admit one thing I wish I could have done better is like I feel like I could have like
Collector.
I feel like I could have incorporated like Mika showing up my universe a bit better. His characters didn't really do much in my universe. They were kind of an afterthought, I must admit.
Where's the spiky boy?
Gegner. That was it. There was a collector lord called Gegner.
Gegner?
I forget the name of. Yeah, no, I'm serious. It was in the final collab. I forget the name of the person who made the entry. Let me just. Boy35. Gegner was the result of a semi-transformed base form collector using with another
guy!
character.
The guy who just like glomped himself into another character and like merged together into a single entity. That guy was cool.
Yeah, that's really cool, and I really wish Doyboy35 had continued that entry because that's such a cool idea. And like, I'm not criticizing at all if Doyboy35 ends up watching this. I love this idea. It's really, really cool, and I don't know if you're gonna continue doing animations or storytelling stuff or anything like that, but it's such a cool concept, and I really wish we saw more of that. I mean, I get why you wouldn't because life happens, and I understand why you would have ended it off. Why he would have ended it off there. Yeah. But that's such a great concept, and I feel like we need to talk about Gegner.
Yeah.
Because not enough people are talking about Gegner.
The only other collector that literally fused with other characters, to my knowledge, was Singularity, and that really was not the same thing as what Gegner had going for him.
Right.
Where it was like a fusion dance between two different characters.
Right. Jimmy McDonald's bringing up Monisa from Chris
Atlanticus'
entry. Monisa was another good one. I don't think she had much to...
Yeah,
it was
definitely had one of the most unique designs out of any collector I've seen.
Yeah, I don't think personality was not much, but definitely made up for in design. Again, going back to like the unique building one. It's like you can make a lot of people can make a bipedal collector, and still make it interesting. But it's another thing to make it look totally unique, different body type, body structure, and all that.
Menincia looked very similar to the moon spirit from Kubo and the Two Strings.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I haven't seen
really
that in a
while.
while.
Watching that movie.
Oh, fun fact! I actually got to go to Leica Studios and see the real models that they were using for that movie while it was in production. Before before a year before the movie was released.
What is Leica doing now, anyways? The last I heard about them was that Missing Link movie. That was years ago.
They're working on a new movie. Like, it takes a while because it's stop motion and because they don't turn a profit.
Right. But
Leica is literally the only case of nepotism funding being a net positive.
Yeah, the head of the company is the son of the guy who owns Nike.
Yeah.
So the studio doesn't make a profit. They get most of their basically all the revenues they get from the movie go directly back into covering production cost. And they're not profitable, and I'm okay with that. It's like you said,
the movies are beautiful.
They're incredible. They're so damn good. Like, I saw the models up close. What they did, you know that one scene where they go into the water, and that this creature called the Ningen this big thing that looks like it's made out of living seaweed with an eye in the center. I saw the actual model for that thing. It was 10 feet tall, was fully articulated, and they had to suspend it from a rig mounted to the ceiling of the warehouse that Leica Studio is situated in. And that thing only shows up for like a minute. The amount of work they put into these movies is incredible. I don't care. Anyway, yeah.
No, but he says that the next Leica movie is called Wildwood, which I believe I mentioned in my April Fool's community post, but forgot about.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering because it's been a while because it's usually because I don't remember this. This is probably the biggest gap between movies I can remember. Red Bull Boy. What's your opinion on the Bionicles and rumors Bionicle coming back? I'll be honest. I don't want.
Don't care.
Yeah, I don't. I'll be honest. I think it's okay for Bionicle just end in the age where like companies refuse to let franchises die. I think it's okay if Bionicle's just gone. We had the good times. Why not savor them?
I would rather Bionicle just stay at peace where it is than them bring it back and fuck it up a second time.
Make some.
I don't think my soul could handle that.
Make something new. Like as much like
G2 broadly.
Yeah.
I liked what G2 had going for it. I really did. And it was canceled before its time, so there's not a whole lot I can really say about it. So there you go.
G2 had the toys that those were genuinely great. I feel like it suffered everywhere else though.
The writing that made the G1 special just was not there, but I'm not really interested in talking about that right now.
Yeah, I'd rather.
You know what I am interested in talking about? The Xerix, because I mentioned that I would, if people could build Xeric, I would voice them, and god damn, people just went fucking crazy. Oh boy.
Yeah, that was my drunk nihilistic Xeric. There was, of course, Cowboy Xeric, the fan favorite.
Cowboy Xeric was the best out of all of them easily.
Okay, so someone needs to stop Legend Weaver. He's 2 for 2 in creating iconic characters for this project, and he shows.
Make him more powerful, damn it!
He's created so many iconic characters, and I don't know how he does it.
It's because he doesn't take himself seriously, except for when he does,
that would do it.
And it's beautiful when he does choose to. But yeah. Out of all the scripts I read, and I read a lot of them, Legend Weavers was the only one where I was legitimately, like, audibly laughing my ass off as I was reading it, because I was like, oh my god, this is fucking comedy gold. This is incredible.
I mean, I was expecting good from Legend Weaver. He almost always does good, but yeah, he really went above and beyond here.
Oh my god, Firestorm was just a fucking masterpiece.
There's a reason why I included it in part 1. There's a reason.
Yeah.
The gush about Firestorm stream.
Uh-huh. Like, for me, for that entry's like, it's tied dead even with Ironclad Warlord in terms of my favorite entries.
I don't know why you like that.
It's good for completely different reasons, which is why I have them, like, tied for first. Like, I think of the two of them, Ironclad is more technically competent and has better fight choreography. I'm sorry, you cannot beat Firestorm for sheer entertainment value. You just can't.
Yeah, that one's my favorite.
It's so damn good. It's so damn good.
Like, I can rewatch Firestorm over and over again. I can't rewatch Ironclad Warlord.
That
might be because I made Ironclad Warlord.
I have rewatched both of them, I think, more times than any of the other entries, and I still very much enjoy both of them. Yeah, they are very good.
Yeah, there were certainly,
but let's be real.
Yeah,
out of all of them, like his Xeric was by far the best.
Yeah.
No question. No debate. I agree.
King Xeric Pendragon wasn't in the entry, so we can't really say anything about that. I think he's going to show up in one of Mac's future projects.
Who?
Ahmed was asking about King Xeric Pendragon.
Oh, we'll get to him much, much later. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll mostly talk about the collab as it is, not who we didn't get in. Karov asked, "What were some of your favorite elements to design for your respective collectors?" You always liked hearing.
Okay.
They always like hearing about people's design
okay.
processes.
Favorite design
Head.
processes.
The head.
Head.
Yeah, I think the head. Yeah, I think the head, because that's kind of most people get drawn first to the head, so you got to help it make it stand out.
For a while, I've been going for this trend where I try to make mocks that are both absolutely massive, that also have flexible waists, which is really just objectively a terrible idea, right? And Volcross actually managed to pull that design off and have it actually somehow work. So I was pretty happy with that.
Tiny waist. Guy's got a tiny waist. He's got a Kronk body type. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh god,
Evil Kronk.
now I'm getting cursed off of Patrick Warburton reading his voice. Hey, Zeris.
He's so good.
Oh god.
Poison for Zeres. Zeres is poison.
Right. Zombies. The zombies for Zeres. The zombies I summoned specifically to kill Zeres. Zeres zombies. Those zombies.
I mean, to be fair, it's not like.
Warburton,
To be fair, he could be.
Patrick
He could.
Warburton doing like a fake British accent or Australian accent for. Oh my god.
I mean, to be fair, he could pull off a more serious role like that. It is possible.
It's just people listening would just get such severe mental whiplash from listening to him voice like a super
Biotube
smart
Cataclysm,
evil
but
character. Patrick-
Biotube
yeah.
Cataclysm, but everything's the same except Volcross is Kronk.
Like, Patrick Warburton, like, voicing an evil super genius just does not compute for most people.
I mean, he did voice Buzz Lightyear in the TV show.
Your point?
I don't know. Like he he's not trying to be stupid.
I don't think
TV show.
I don't think many people are out here describing Buzz Lightyear as a
Okay,
super genius.
but still, anyways.
Yeah.
But okay, besides the point.
Yeah.
Volcross. Flexible waist, design elements of collectors.
Yeah, what were some other interesting ones?
Yeah, we brought up the heads because again, that's how help makes them make the most distinct. Like I see a lot of heads.
The head is where the fascinating part
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's funny how like the heads were all required to have like the single Borak eye, so they all look at a fundamental level they all look kind of similar, but there's just so much variety with them. Like so much variety. It's amazing.
I think,
You do see some common trends. People really like giving them horns. Collectors are horny boys.
Yeah.
I also noticed a trend of like
It's
I also noticed a
animalistic
trend of like the
elements.
long, thin head where like the eye is pointing forward. I noticed a lot of them.
I mean, it makes sense. Like the head kind of contours to shape around the eye itself. Not every collector follows this trend, though. Zonthra has a very
vertical oriented eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. I don't know which design element I typically prefer. Yeah.
I don't know. Like for me, I like my collectors where you can very easily like see what distinct traits from other characters or elements of that universe that they decided to yoink from themselves.
I think that's
yeah.
a main missed opportunity with Strudex.
I think
Well,
it's just
Strudex had already ran through several other universes before showing up, so like it's definitely understandable.
I think I just like I think I'm trying to go for like silhouette.
Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of get that with Zonthra, but like Zonthra's character design is so unique that like it wins points anyway, even though like she pretty quickly diverges from the two things she initially collected.
Right.
I think if we're sorry, you saying something?
Oh yeah, I was about to say another thing that Legend Lever does well because he does fucking everything incredibly well. Griddian and Temperatrax also did a really good job of this, where you very clearly see the parts that they collected show up on their later Lord forms, down to very specific abilities where like Gridion's one of his major abilities is his like poison claws, which he can use for a whole bunch of different things, and that was one of like the very first things he collected that he ended up
Yeah.
using to its
Mhm.
best effect. That was really cool.
If I may just touch on the Strudex design, he went through like 4 different phases. You've all seen his earliest design where he was just kind of a fairly genetic bipedal collector lord with a thermos head, right?
I don't think I remember.
Thermos head.
I don't think I remember that one. But then again, that was such a long while ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then Design V2, I nailed the head down with the 3 weird insect jaws, which has remained to this day, and I'm very proud of it. But at that, I think I wasted all my energy on the head, and I just gave up when it came to the torso. So I copied the Bionicle character Maxilos.
Oh, okay, I can see that.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. But then I redesigned him again, and I think I nailed it. I gave him the waist articulation. I think his current form, his Calamity form, is where it's at. I really wish he'd looked like this from the beginning. But I guess it wouldn't have given the moment where he attains that form the same impact, narratively speaking.
Suppose
That's
not.
just- I was planning on making him a spider for a while. I think I mentioned that earlier, but I can't get over what a bad decision that was.
Oh yeah, don't make spider collectors. I mean, if you want to, that's fine. But like, my God, they are such a nightmare to animate.
Yeah, I can confirm with Zonthra. Like that. That's one of the reasons why you don't usually see her moving why her shots
she
are usually up at
teleports.
the chest.
She teleports because she's just too fat to walk.
No. Like I remember actually doing an animation test was trying to test her walking.
I remember that. I saw that video.
Yikes. Volcross was also less of a nightmare to animate than I expected. Still not without challenges, because nobody pay attention to the fact that nobody he scanned had a tail. He just decided to grow it because he felt like it. No one pay attention to that. But it's a good thing he had that tail, because that served as a sort of third leg for stability purposes. And the one time I had him use his tail offensively to like tail swipe someone, it fucked up his balance so badly I had to reshoot that scene like 5 times for like a 1-second attack. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, I like Zonthra's tail also was like also help with stability. Even then, that could be a pain. Even with like the friction stabilizers with the snake tail, like cause that's also like on the ground but also reared up. So you gotta like make sure it's at decent enough. Like if you have like a figure stands, that does help. I remember using them a lot in my entry. If I can see some of them.
Oh, but if you want to talk about mobility issues, let's talk about Singularity.
Oh my god. Oh my god. He just stood around when I animated him because I couldn't make him do anything else.
I couldn't either. It just sits there and shoots at stuff and doesn't really move because it can't. I was like,
had an
oh
idea for,
no.
This is largely irrelevant, but I had an idea for what Singularity would look like if it kept growing. I had the idea that it kind of hollows out the planet, and it becomes a giant tree of twisted metal that extends from pole to pole.
That would have been really
the-
cool. And even
just
more
the
of a
eye in the
horrible
middle.
nightmare. And even more of a horrible nightmare to animate.
But it doesn't move, it just stands there.
Yeah, how about you just use up all your parts to make a horrible metal monster tree that's constantly screaming because it's full of corpses. Sure. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
A little audio detail that I don't know if people picked up when in the finale when Singularity was fighting the heroes was that the corpses that form his body are constantly going, "Help me! Help me!
I didn't hear that
Help
at all.
me!"
Yeah, I didn't hear that either.
I think I made the audio too low. Oh well.
Yeah. I mean, if it were louder, it probably would have been distracting. But
It
I'm
would have
gonna
been
give that. I'm gonna listen for that the next time I watch it.
Imagine a
It would have been too
singularity
distracting, yeah.
assimilated flesh instead. Oh dear.
Well, it tried to, and it didn't work out so well. Because it tried to absorb Zeres, and that didn't work out
was
too well for him.
busted.
I do remember there was this.
Oh,
I do
man.
remember one video game. The main enemy force was this race that could assimilate both metal and organic matter, and yeah, the results were horrifying.
Yep. Oh, you know what I just realized? Singularity is almost kind of similar to this creature called the Shrike. Let me look up where it's from real quick.
That sounds familiar.
Character from Aurora.
No, not that one, which I desperately need to get around to reading at some point. Thanks for that. Oh yeah,
Dude,
so the
you really
yeah.
should.
I know I would like it because it's from OSP, or the people behind OSP. But anyway, okay, so the
You'll post a
Shrike.
picture of her.
Anyway, so the Shrike from the Hyperion Cantos is this like this weird techno-organic alien entity that impales people onto these spikes that come out of its body and keeps them alive and in constant agony forever because it
Ooh,
feeds off
lovely.
of pain.
Oh dear.
So Singularity kinda operates on a similar-ish principle where it
Yeah.
basically assimilated all of Hero Factory into itself. Oh, that's a Shrike. Interesting. But yeah, not the Shrike I was thinking about, but significantly
Absolutely not.
nastier.
I figured.
Yeah, significantly
I
nastier.
mean, this one's pretty nasty, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ugh.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not the point.
Yeah.
What else is on the agenda? What else do we wanna talk about?
I do remember. Let's see. Yeah, things got out of hand. We got overambitious stuff got on the way, and things got. I remember how many times we had to delay. Okay.
3 or 4 extensions we had to do.
And that was mostly,
yeah.
and that was mostly just for us.
Yeah. Yeah. We couldn't meet our own deadline. No.
Yeah, I do feel bad that it took us this long. Like, we already discussed it, but I still feel bad that it took so long and there's so many delays came up. Just to, like, finish the whole thing.
Yeah, but finish it we did. And I'm so happy we did.
Yeah, let's never do this. Let's never do this again.
Turned out pretty well.
Yeah, no, never again. Dear God, never again. But with that said, this may have gotten out of hand. With that said, collectors themselves, they're not going anywhere from the looks of things.
Oh hell no!
Yeah.
Oh,
I've got like
people!
8 sitting on my shelf.
I have 6 lined up right now for my next big video project. Yeah, like I think I love how like people just took the idea of collectors and just completely ran away with them, which was, you know, always the intent, but yeah, like people just
I think they're a mainstay now.
Oh yeah, like I think collectors might be a permanent thing that are around now just because their home dimension is canonically gone. That like the multiverse is a big place, right? There's plenty of opportunities for collectors to just show up, right? Yeah, I think they're like they're not going anywhere.
I wouldn't be surprised if I draw like more collectors in non-Bionicle universes. That'll probably happen at some point. Kara, there is a Cataclysm server. It's not going anywhere anytime soon.
I've mentioned the Cataclysm server so many times. People would ask me in like the comments section of like the announcement video about what to do with collectors. I'm like, dog, the link is right there.
Post him in the server. We all love to see him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean with the collab itself wrapped up, really the only function the Cataclysm server serves now is to just, showcase your collectors, which people are still doing,
I mean,
which is
Ahmed,
cool.
the reason why we're not really talking about collectors that exist in images and videos that weren't in the collab is, well, there's not much to talk about, or we don't really remember much about them.
Mm-hmm.
There were
Or we
several
can't
entries we
really
had
say
to leave
anything.
out. Mac and I had to deliberate which ones we wanted to include, which ones we want. He was more strict than me. I think generally we had a grain scale. It was like,
doesn't have good stop motion, banned.
well, I remember there was one that
I'm kidding.
there was only really like one or two where I said like, no, I can't accept it. I think I'm more lenient on ones that weren't the best, but they were longer because of how long they were. I could tell there was a lot of effort put into it. Maybe not talent, because maybe not talent at the time, because like anybody could get better, but I can at least respect the effort that went into it.
Because this
I
was
think a lot of them.
Some
of them did deserve
some
to
of
be
the entries
shown.
good entries that got in didn't even have like, not all the entries that got in had good stories, but they had good other stuff. Yeah, the story wasn't the main reason. The story wasn't the reason why we didn't choose certain entries. It was mostly down to like presentation.
There was at least one or two where I was like, the animation is bad. There's no audio. I genuinely can't tell what the hell's going on. I don't want to put this in. And then there were others like, yeah, the animation isn't really that impressive, but like, they're trying so hard. They really are. I'd feel like an asshole if I cut it.
Exactly.
So let's just put it in.
Yeah, I forget how many entries we just didn't put in.
I forget too.
Counting, I think 5, 6, maybe 7-ish.
Yeah, something like that. Which is honestly kind of a good thing, because considering how long it took us just to get those 19 together, if we'd... Could you imagine how much of a pain in the ass it would be if, like, everyone who made a collector made an entry? Oh my god, we still wouldn't be done.
Yeah. I'd still be editing.
You wouldn't be done with this thing until like 2025. That would be a nightmare.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the entry playlist open right now, and I'm just looking at some of these.
Are you talking? Is it like all the entries we've gotten, or just the accepted ones?
No, all of them. I know which ones were accepted because I made that summary.
Right.
I know for a fact that for a few people, their Cataclysm entry played a contributing factor into getting them over the 1,000 subscriber threshold.
I mean,
So
Arcstone
think
for one
that's
thing.
Speaking to
cool.
one.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yep.
Aren't you like
that was new, fresh, just sprouted out of the woodwork, made an entry, and suddenly I'm chatting with ManiaMac 1613 and Shade 2800.
I mean, to be fair, our first Mac and I's first ever collab, that was what got me over the 1,000 sub mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just smelled weakness with Bio Rock Dude and Kyler Nuva. I was like, all right, time for a new Apex Predator to come in. And I took all their subs. And then things took off from there.
Should we talk about Lorelad's entry? Just briefly touch on that, because that was another one of the good one. That was another really good one. Not one. That's the wrong thing.
Which one was Lorelad's again? I'm so sorry. I don't remember all the collab entries.
I don't remember that one.
The one where Zary's, Drazen, and Zarek showed up.
Oh, Lorelad, that one. Lorelad. You just pronounced it weird. That was I was shocked. Yeah, I was shocked how good. I was shocked how good that one turned out. Although it was a pain, like there was a lot of like there was the one thing I didn't like was like there was a lot of like one frame black screens like that suddenly showed up, which was a pain to edit out. That took forever.
So the thing about Lorelads was that I fully intended to do like an in-depth collab with him because I was very impressed with the script he showed me. This was like back before Arcstone like hopped onto the project. I was so impressed with what Lorelad was doing that, I was like, okay, let's like make a big deal out of this, because I liked what I saw with Drazen, I liked what I saw with Zares, I liked what I saw with Zarek, like with Botar and everything. It had a really solid script. So I was like, all right, let's fucking do it. I voiced all the characters for him, and then he dropped off the face of the earth for months, and then came back
Chopped it down.
and like the last possible second and chopped what was originally intended to be like a full hour-long entry into
Yeah, I
like
remember the
10
script being
minutes.
really long.
Because it was one of those things where he had a really ambitious script, and he just did not have the time or the energy. He had the talent 100%. He just
100%.
did not have the time or the energy or maybe really the experience to do everything that he wanted to do with his entry, which was a little sad, not gonna lie, because I really liked what could. I just think of it like, because I saw the script and helped him edit it a bunch. Like, I'm just thinking about what that entry was supposed to be. But what we got was pretty good, I got to admit. It definitely had one of the more unique-looking collectors. Like, a collector that looks like a bacteriophage. Like, goddamn, who the hell even thinks of that?
The way it worked with the elemental powers it collected was very clever too, where each arm and leg, each section of the body had a different power. That was very neat.
That was very cool.
I
yeah.
do actually remember reading several
mocks
scripts that
in
never
that-
even got an entry. It was just like scripts that were never really made of full entries. I do remember reading some.
Yeah. The mocks in Lorlad's entry were absolutely a highlight.
Oh, they're so good. Those are some damn good mocks.
I mean,
The fight scenes were also really good.
They were good, yeah.
I mean,
What was there was really good. I wish there was more, but I'm happy with what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you saw, I saw like earlier cuts of that where it was like more like test footage. I was like, oh damn, this looks really good. We're looking forward to an hour of this, and he was like, yeah, about that. Still good though. You know what? You know, an entry I actually really liked was Pug Productions one.
That was one of the earliest ones. That was a good example. That was I think that was the first one.
The first one.
It was
was the first entry that I saw.
It set a good
on
standard.
YouTube.
It set a good standard for what to come.
It was the shortest out of all of them, but it did everything it was supposed to do, and it did it very well. And I quite enjoyed it.
It was the best example. I think it was the best first entry we could have gotten.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. It really set the stage for the collab. It showed off everything that the collectors were, how they worked, stuff. I think the only thing it was missing out on was crossover stuff. But,
it had one. I
later.
think it had one crossover character in it. I'll
think
be
it did.
perfectly honest.
it
I
didn't.
don't know everyone's characters or who belongs to who. So there may have been a crossover character in there that I thought was there, and maybe I was mistaken.
Having watched Pug series, no, there were no crossover characters.
I was mistaken. There are no crossover characters.
Except
Be that as
Zaktan. Are we counting Zaktan?
Nah.
We're not counting Zaktan.
Whatever. Point is, it was well done, and I think where I personally screwed up the most was giving like the hour-long time limit.
Yeah.
That kind of encouraged people to get too ambitious when I really should have known better. But out of everyone, Pug wanted to do a less ambitious but more achievable entry, and he did it very well. He did it on time, under budget, all that good stuff. Yeah, it was quite good.
Yeah.
And he also got a massive subscriber boost from it, which was also very cool.
Yeah, I think he's over like 600 subs
he's,
now.
Creeping up on 1,000.
Oh, really?
He's at 700. 707.
Oh,
Okay.
hell yeah,
Creeping up towards
nice.
1,000.
Okay, I was close. I thought it was 600 something.
Also, like, probably the best animated snake collector I saw. There was a shocking number of snake collectors.
Yeah, let's see. There was Pugs. There was
that
Lorelad.
actually made videos.
If you want to count Zondra, her tail is a snake.
Sure,
Yeah.
but yeah, like snake collector, and it was actually very well animated. I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
Something I really liked about Slithron, I think that's how you pronounce his name, was the color scheme. I think the tan color, the light tan that he used, combined with the various shades of red, it was very, very striking, and I really liked it.
It was a very snake-like color scheme. It
Yeah.
worked very nicely.
Dante, to answer your question, the reason your entry made it is because it fell under, okay, it's not the best, but it's long. We can tell you still put effort into it, so we're letting it in anyway. Because yeah, even if stuff isn't the best, one of the reasons what I was trying to focus on when I was trying to decide which entries got and which didn't, it was like, does it feel like the person put effort into it? That was my reasoning for when choosing.
Let's see. Red Wolf Boy Studios question: when Xeris takes the powers of the other characters, he transforms to Golden Xeris, but then he goes back to normal. What happened? Golden Xeris is not supposed to be a thing yet, but because Golden Xeris is a multiversal entity that can just time travel at will, he
Exactly, Sin.
allowed Xeris to tap into all the combined powers of everyone else in the collab, just like as a treat. So
My
yeah.
interpretation is sorry, because Cosmic Xeris is a multiversal entity. He literally draws power from every life form in the multiverse. That's where his overwhelming power comes from.
Ooh, that's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I've always been interpreting it. So Singularity's ultimate assimilation, what it did was it simulated the way Cosmic Xeris draws power, and it allowed him to temporarily do that.
Oh, that is a really cool interpretation of things. It's like Chat GTP trying to achieve unlimited power.
Oh dear.
But because it's an AI, and AI are only good at copying the things other people do, it didn't quite grok what the whole multiversal power source thing entailed, so it couldn't handle the feedback, and it fried it, and that enabled Burst to put the anti-resonator in it. Yeah, enabled her to pull off her hero moment.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Burst at some point?
Oh my god, Burst! We have not talked about Burst nearly enough.
We should talk about Burst.
That poor woman.
Like, we talked about the Hero Factory, but we haven't talked about Burst.
Yeah, that was
one of 3 Hero Factory OCs that appear in this collab.
Yeah, I think she was my idea. I mean, I'm the one who made the mock, so yeah, it was. I think that much was obvious. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was 100% your idea.
Trying to think of what we could discuss that we haven't. I can hear the crickets chirping.
Yeah. We, I think we kinda went through everything. She needs hugs and head pats.
Yeah.
Oh my god, she deserves all the hugs and head pats.
Oh yeah, one thing we could talk about. I didn't realize until after I finished editing together that during her final scene, I forgot to put the cannon on the right arm.
I noticed that and I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah.
I was like, I just assumed it was intentional.
Yeah, no, and that's the arm where when she's firing her blast, you can see the energy pour through her arm. So yeah, that's not gonna work on the other arm. You can't see the energy.
Like, I thought she was visually supposed to be inspired by Samus, so I assumed the cannon was just literally built into her arm. I didn't know it was just a gun she was holding.
I mean, to be, well, I guess one way to think about it is that, it's still somewhat, it's somewhat still attaches to her. Like, again, you can see in my entry, you can see the power surging through her when she does that big blast.
Yeah. Oh, Dante Knight, if I bring something up interesting, the shadows of Xeris and Lucarian, I believe he's talking about the simulations they fought. Ooh, we should talk about those.
The Unwanted. That's my official name.
There's Unwanted, and then, well, I just called him Blue, because calling him Omega Xeris was a bit of a mouthful, but,
and a lot to talk.
You're welcome, Dante.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, so that concept was interesting. There's a deleted scene, or not even deleted is a bit disingenuous. I never even got around to animating the damn thing. Where Professor Zarek explains that Singularity, being an AI, all it really does is just copy data from existing universes instead of like actually making anything original, and then uses that to build its simulations in order to save processing power, and also because it can't really, imagine things
Oh yeah,
because it's a machine.
Professor Zurich was supposed to
But
have more scenes. I think Drazen was supposed to show up in one of them.
yeah, that didn't really pan out. Be that as it may, yeah, so it started out with Singularity's first little test run simulation going up against Strudex, where he just created a killer robot that Strudex was able to defeat. So Singularity retreated. It was like, okay, this concept needs some refinement. What's it missing? It's missing like an element of psychological warfare, a personal touch, right, where it can like get under its opponent's skin. So what it did was that it scanned Zeres and Lucarian and made simulations for them based off of their deepest, darkest insecurities. So for Lucarian, the unwanted was him, but like all the nasty, gross stuff that he perceived as making him unworthy of, friendship. And then for Zeres, he just got like the most prideful asshole version of himself possible that was also better than him. Like basically all of their negative traits manifested into physical opponents that were powerful enough to actually challenge them. That's what those simulations were.
I still
Who
love
are you? I'm you, but worse.
I'm you, but worse.
I still love the moment where I like animate the unwanted face tendrils like unraveling. I still love that moment.
That was very good.
Oh, it was disgusting. I loved it.
I also love love how I did the moment where he was just glitching out. I really love that was something that took a while to edit, but it's really the heavily edited moments that turn out to be some of my favorites. Just like I feel like a sense of accomplishment,
Yeah, I like the moment when Zeres was like, "Wait a minute, being an arrogant asshole has never actually made me happy," and then he just beats Blue into a wall, just yeets him into a wall, and then drops a building on his head.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that was great.
I was also thinking Soulsborne boss when I was looking at Unwanted.
Dude looks like something straight out of Bloodborne.
Also,
Like,
the
it's a
build was
very well
also the
designed
build
boss.
was the build was supposed was,
Yo.
and I admit the build was kind of excused to be a little lazy with like try not to make it as clean, just kind of messed up as a whole.
I'm sorry, hold on. Jimmy McDonald says Zeres gives daddy vibes.
I saw that.
Bro.
I wondered how long it would take you to notice that. Also, you're totally missing Drazen. Come on, man.
Oh, Legend Weaver, you were here the whole time. You adored Unwanted Lucarian's spinny face.
Speed.
Oh, it was so good.
Oh, hi, Legend Weaver.
He commented.
Did you just...
I think he commented once earlier. I forget. I don't remember, but I think he did.
Legend, how long have you been in the chat? We were like singing your
Gushing
praises
about your
for
entry.
almost an hour.
At least half an hour.
Zeres daddy, Drazen zaddy. Jeez. Oh, god damn it.
Zeres dating
damn it.
Zeres dating Sim Wen. No, wait, ManiaMac dating Sim Wen. Just all the characters.
No. Just no.
Biotube dating sim. I'd play it.
Actually, no, you might be onto something there. Oh
And
god.
we all know everyone would.
We all know
I'm
once
not gonna say that, never mind.
once Acretia shows up, it's all over.
Oh god, now I'm thinking of like I'm seeing this as someone who likes his work. I'm also thinking about Dawn of NSSD's mocks and like this dating sim.
Good fucking lord. Dawn of NSSD is one of the strangest biotubers out there. There's really no one else like him.
I respect.
Like,
I definitely respect his
Animation style.
Mm-hmm. I love his animation style. I just cannot fathom why he's compelled to make his mock so unbelievably horny.
For me, it's just like
Yes.
to each their own. He's at least good at his craft.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah,
I love
it's
his
like-
set pieces. I love his animation style. And I try to replicate it, I guess. It's a big inspiration for what I do. You can tell because I use paper cutouts to simulate motion effects and light.
Jimmy McDonald, take a fucking shower. What is... God damn.
I mean, to be fair, I did an OC Smasher and Pass last year, and several of the stuff I got were a Bionicle box. Legend Weaver was on my phone unable to chat, but I had happy flappy hands with every compliment.
Happy flappy hands at every compliment.
Yep, I get it.
Kara,
I get
Bionicle
it.
fans like men. Oh god, now I'm just
I mean,
now I'm just realizing.
You know what? You're not wrong.
Oh god, now I'm just realizing. Are there any? Is anybody actually finds my mock sexy? I'm just realizing that now. Oh god.
Love is
They're
canon
plastic,
and
yeah.
it is gay. The only canon Bionicle relationship that I actually buy into is Kopaka and Pohatu because
Axon and Brutaka. They're divorced.
oh hell,
We all know this.
hell no, no, God, what is it? No, ew.
Jala,
Ugh.
I left that years ago. It was a very messy divorce, and I do not want to remember that.
Ugh. Happy
Okay, yeah, but
Flappy
whatever.
is what Ceres calls it.
Jala,
Oh, oh, I took
We're
a
getting
point.
very you're getting tragically off track here.
Oh, be real. It was only ever a matter of time before it became this.
oh god, yeah. Oh god, now I'm just thinking. Oh, now the thought reached my mind. Lucarian with cake. Why?
Caked up Lucarian.
You just like him
Oh,
doing
weird.
that one
Sorry,
Omni-Man
Nick, versus
meme.
Canon.
Oh, Jesus. Like his booty
Okay,
cheeks are too big to be concealed by his cape. Lucarian. God damn it. Oh no. Oh, we fully lost the plot, boys. Oh, jeez.
The Cataclysm Collab 2,
You're
Electric
talking about, I'm the
Boogaloo.
one who turned my Biotube mascot into a twink.
Is racism canon in Bionicle? Unfortunately, I think it is.
Which of Yas's characters are most caked up? I want to say Mammoth. Out of my characters, she probably has the most cake. Then again, I think it's my only attempt at actually making a bum.
I mean, of the characters that have appeared on screen, have you seen how stacked Zereese is?
Yeah, Woody Mac has booty.
Was Zereese really old enough to be weak against full Crescent Blue? What the fuck does that even mean? Celcron makes me oh.
Oh my god, Luke Elizabeth Lucarian's ass clapping with every step.
There's like, Lucarian, you've got to stop! Your ass is too powerful!
How did this happen? How did this happen?
Again, it was only ever a matter of time.
Okay.
Oof.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
It's been almost 2 hours. Is there anything else to discuss?
Well, we
At this
briefly
point,
touched on burst. I don't think there's much more to say about that.
I think discussing anything further at that point is just straight up getting into dangerous territory.
Honestly,
look at where-
re-railing at this point is probably more complicated, so I might as well keep driving this train through the woods and see where we end up.
I mean, I'm hungry, but we can keep going for a little bit longer if you want to.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't want to.
Oh, Strude, okay.
I mean, I don't want to stretch it out if we have nothing to talk about. There's some stuff I want to get to.
I think
I've got-
we covered just about everything.
I've got nothing else to say except someone just said Strudex is also ugh, and I don't know how to feel about that. Have you seen that guy? He's like half machine, and his face is His face is
Uh,
very
there was-
troubling.
Strudex definitely is the most Tumblr sexy man out of all the collectors, I would say.
I mean, you're not wrong, but still, he has 3 jaws.
3 jaws? My god,
Some people
imagine
will
what he
tap to
could do
that.
with those.
Serial, there will not be another Cataclysm stream.
It hurts.
Wait, this is just the main one. Karav, you're welcome. Pan, is Zarek gay? I kind of always envisioned him as Pan, to be honest.
Zarek,
Pan, right?
Zarek is canonically pansexual. The only thing that literally all of the Zareks have in common is that they're all pan.
Oh, they're all okay.
All of them.
I mean, if there are funny, what are some funny moments?
Like,
I mean,
some of them are
funny
guys, some of them are
probably know.
girls, some of them are more serious than others, some are even crazier than others. The only thing they all have in common is that they're pan.
That's the best bit of lore you could have possibly dropped in this stream.
You're welcome.
Strudex dressed like, well, I'm drawing that now. Thank you,
Hold
Legend.
on, Dante. People working together. Question. Hold on. Let me look through. Hold on.
How bad can I be? Taking over universe is my
singing that,
destiny.
you know?
Man, this is
Oh
the
my
third time you
God.
commented that.
Hey, animate him singing that? Should I?
Dude, Bionicle
Anything goes
Bionicle
now.
AMVs are like a lost art form. We should bring them back.
We should bring him back.
We gotta bring it. 2024 is the year Bionicle AMVs come back. Oh my god, that'd be incredible.
If people working
Let's do
together.
it. Hell
Dante,
yeah.
Dante, what was the people
Raw
working?
Fem Strudex Lab.
Dante, what was the people working together
no.
question? I'm sorry, I can't find it. And also, well, let me look at some of the questions. Dante also asked, what I'm saying is, does Zeri actually age because when he fought Blue Zeris, he couldn't be fast enough to hit him? No, it's not because of age, it's just because Blue Zeris is just faster and more powerful. Or it's supposed to be. It has nothing to do with age.
Bionicle AMV with Linkin Park. It's, my guy, it is not 2009 anymore. We've moved on as a society.
I actually want to do a, I can't say it. I can't say what characters I would use because it's a spoiler for my story. But I want to make one of those, animate something to the song "Join Us and Die."
I don't think I've heard that one.
You probably haven't.
The problem with the AMVs is down on copyright. I mean, most of us aren't making money off of like videos. I mean, the only what
You think I do this as a career?
I mean,
I do this because it's fun.
the only like music video, the only video that got taken down of mine that had copyright music was my musical collab, but that's probably because I only have multiple songs. I had like other videos claimed, but not.
It had all the copyrighted music.
Yeah,
Is Zeris double cheeked up? I don't know. Go watch the video with her in it. You tell me.
Dante, the question about people working together make an entry for the collab didn't come to that. Yeah, unfortunately, the only entry that had like people really working together was like Mac, me, and then Mika showing up. Arcstone also had Pug's
Ask a
character
whole
showing
server
up.
full of introverts to work together. Really, I should have known better.
Yeah. I think one of the last time I actually did one of those stop motion music videos was. I forget.
Have I
It was
ever
the other
made
side, right?
I think so. You know what I just realized?
Well,
I don't think I've ever done an AMV. Like,
No,
ever.
hang on.
I think the
that
closest I've
celebration video that you did when Bionicle 2015 was announced. Does that count?
Huh?
You remember that?
No, I
You
don't.
did a
I do.
when Bionicle 2015 was announced. You made a video of all your mocks celebrating. It was very, and I rewatch it from time to time.
I
Then
don't.
Trios comes out and threatens Stormer. Do you remember that?
Vaguely, yeah.
I think the closest I've done to a traditional AMV is for my for one of the videos when my channel was celebrating 10 years. Where I was
World
doing
on
clips for
Fire.
my video. Yeah. Sometimes I return to that one.
I remember that one.
When Volcross summoned the Kathrani from the dead, there were 3 that came back. Devasaur, Capricious, was there one more where there wasn't? It was Eros, the Kathrani that nobody remembers that possessed Zarek because Zarek's force of personality just completely eclipses.
Dante, that was one of the ideas. I mean, people didn't have to work
Arrows.
together, but we encouraged it.
Rest in piss, Eros. Nobody remembers you.
I mean, anybody can do what they want,
Poor
Consort. So if you
Arrows.
want to make an epilogue, go ahead. But everybody can do what they want with the collab now. Bletcher, I hope someone animate funny moments from his stream.
Dante,
I mean,
dang it, I can't type and make sense in time. My brother in Christ, you can literally edit your comment before you post it. That's the whole point.
I no one saw the kind
What
of
do
collab.
you mean?
Are you talking about for like the stuff you did for the finale? Yeah, but that's because for the moment I didn't think it fit tonally.
Mika X, no one saw the cat in the collab. I did.
Oh, you talk. Ahmed asks, "Is Zeri's a virgin? He never got laid."
No, he's not. Moving on.
Yeah.
I think that raises more questions, sir.
I do like.
Too fucking bad. Anyway.
I do like how like in the finale, the music. I was just for the music I chose for like everybody doing the chant. I think I chose a good one because I was trying to find something that was epic, but I think it also works symbolically. Because it's the same song that was used for the final boss of the last Smash Brothers game, which is also like this huge collaboration, like crossover event, and which also is spreading a bunch of universes. So I think the song is actually very, very fitting thematically, not just sound wise. So I actually kind of like what I chose with there.
Seems
Question.
really well edited.
Yeah. Question
well.
from Pug. Question: now that collectors don't have a homeworld to respond, and what happens when their resonator spikes are removed? Now, do they just die? Yes, they just die. They just die. Because their
bodies don't disappear, but they just die.
Because their resonator spike is basically like their brain. If you rip it out, they're done for.
Did you guys expect?
And what happens if you rip out a human's brain? They just die.
What did you,
Exactly.
Did you, Constorm, did you guys expect to call up to be 8 hours or were you shooting for less? I mean, I think we expecting even more entries, but, like, they didn't get in. I expected to be long. I don't think I expected as many people to make hour-long entries. If that makes sense. But I knew it was going to be long regardless.
Who did Zeres put it in? We must know. Stop keeping this information from the public. Ask Arcstone.
Oh my.
I'm not, like, you write smut for me, I don't write smut for you.
I write my own smut.
Well, I just put that out there on the internet.
I don't know if there's any other collectors we have words for.
Hold on, I feel like there's something.
I have not thought about that, Thomas. Honestly, yeah, no anime opening.
Mac, who do you think made the best Zerica? Fucking obviously me, lol.
Ahmed, you keep saying the same thing. Unless you're waiting for us to actually say something. Yes, to you, Lucario X Burst is canon. Moving on. At least to you. It's not officially canon, but I get to you.
Collector's breedable. Mac, question for you.
I'll get back to you on that one. Professor Zarek's currently researching that one.
How fortuitous.
Yes, very fortunate indeed. Research is ongoing. All signs indicate yes. It's the exact mechanism by which that works hasn't quite been figured out yet.
I think Zarek mostly just worded Zarek saying Terry gushes you about all the time in a more fun and mocking tone, so I don't think it's really meant to be serious.
Do you really take everything Zarek says at face value? Really?
I think half of what Zarek says is half of the words out of Zarek's mouth are bullshit.
I would not
that's the point.
I would not be surprised if someone tried writing Lucario X Zeri smut though. I would not be
I'm
surprised.
actually astonished that I have never seen that before. Oh, I'm gonna eat those words later, aren't I?
The level of eye contact. Look, no, I'm not crazy, right? That scene where they made eye contact in your entry when Lucarian first shows up.
They're just
I'm
really
not
good
wild.
friends.
I don't know. Maybe there's in the vast multiverse. Maybe there is one where they're together. Where they're together.
It's the fucking multiverse. Anything could happen.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Jimmy. That was one of the ideas I had, but I feel like it was the most fitting. Especially, like, it's from people from all around the world, and that version of the song was also in multiple languages.
Yeah, thanks for introducing me to that song. It's very good.
You never heard it
Oh,
before?
Nier Automata has incredible music.
Mm-hmm.
I really need to actually finish that game at some point.
That becomes God's segment. Like that song alone,
Legend
like
Weave-
helped like.
Legend Weaver asks, how do you explain the unwanted killing Zeres being what Lucarian to attack him? You realize that Zeres wasn't
Yeah.
actually there, yeah?
Well, no, but no, no, he understands that too. But that was what provoked Lucarian into attacking the Unwanted. Not him killing his sister, not him killing his other friend or any of his other friends. Just Zeres, you know?
God damn
They're
it.
just really good friends. What? Have you never been?
Really good friends.
Yeah. What? Like you?
Really good friends.
What? Like you've never flown into a murderous rage in one of your dreams when your homie gets stabbed by an evil version of you? It happens to everyone. That's normal.
Can't say I have, honestly.
Oh my. Blueink asks if it would be, if Mac would kill him if he tries to draw NSFW of your characters.
You kidding? Smut away. I don't care.
Draw smut of like honestly, like, I'm gonna put this out there, knowing I might regret it. If someone draws smut or writes smut of my characters, I would be incredibly flattered.
I
Honestly.
don't know how I feel about people drawing smut on my characters. I mean, at the same time, I feel like, oh, they like my characters
Dog,
enough.
I have seen multiple works of smut of your characters before. What do you mean?
Oh. I don't know. I feel like if there's
What are
really
you-
smut of my characters, that I'll do the job, or it's gonna be my mom Bionicle characters. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't really associate Bionicles with romance that much. I think it's more Biotubers that did it already. In fact, there was supposed to be romance in Bionicle Legacy, but that never truly got fleshed out.
Hmm.
I've got a whole bunch of maybes in terms of romantic subplots from my story.
If
Yeah. Go for it, man.
Pan asks, what the fuck is
Do your
smut?
thing.
What do you mean, what the fuck is smut? If you don't know what that is, you're probably too young to be on the internet.
To be fair, I think it took me a while. To first hear what smut was. Like, I have hearing the other terms, so not necessarily smut.
Well, there's a different reason for you specifically, but I don't think that's worth getting into.
Who knows? Maybe Pan was under similar circumstances, but regardless.
Mm.
I think,
Oh, is this-
I mean,
Bozo, we've already answered questions about Bionicle Gen 3. In short, we just were largely neutral, but we hope it doesn't happen.
if it comes back and is good, then I'll gladly eat my words. But I'd rather we get something new.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, imagine Zeres in high heels.
And cover the feet? Are you kidding me?
Oh my.
He has clawed feet, right? How would they fit?
He's
get custom heels?
So-
specialized
So
shoes.
in the Starbreaker armor, he's wearing boots. You can see like they actually like kind of contour around his clawed feet.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know if Lego even has the molds for CCS parts anymore.
Max and defeat confirmed. No, I'm memeing. Or am I?
No, Drayson is not in the back rooms, Ahmed.
Oh yeah, Drazen. Remember him? He vanished halfway through.
Well, he's
and
supposed to
didn't
show
come
up at the
back.
finale, but he never did.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the reason I didn't put Drazen into the finale is because if he showed up, he would just, like, throw Singularity into the sun, and I think that would be just kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah.
You have plans for Drazen, right? I think you mentioned that at one point.
I have a big plan for Drazen, but you're not going to see it for a long time, if ever, honestly.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
that is a
Well, looking forward to
long-term
it.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly, I think.
He was getting coffee. No, Drazen went out to get milk, and he never came back.
Oh yeah.
It's like we said, Drazen is dad.
He's literally dad. He went out to get the milk, and he never came
Damn
back.
it.
Oh no!
Arcstone's character showed up in the Factory World. Did they show up in the Factory World?
No, they didn't.
They did. Very brief
they?
scene. They yeah, they were in the Hero Factory world at the end.
Oh. I must.
Yeah. I actually okay, I'm gonna give you an answer. I wasn't thinking that through. At the point that I made that scene, I was not in on the finale. I was not a member of the team. And I didn't have any plans to be. I was gonna continue the thing later. Uh, just what I wanted to do was show that the Hero Factory world was destroyed. And that's pretty much all. The is that they got out that is that they left off screen because we see Hunter Zarek in a different universe, and when we see my characters again at the very end of the finale, briefly when they get attacked by Singularity's tendrils, they are also off in another universe. Presumably, because it doesn't really look like Makahiro City. Just long story short, I didn't think it through. I didn't know the plan, and
In fairness, we
when I
didn't
did
really
learn
know
the
the plan
plan-
either. So
when I did
Fine.
learn the plan, I just elected to ignore it instead of adding an additional scene that might complicate things. I'm sure if I really, really, wanted to, I could have animated a scene where they leave the Hero Factory universe. Maybe they briefly run into Singularity while I still had that thing together. But I didn't, so just ignore it. Just forget it. I feel if I remembered that I did that, I would have suggested that Shade edit it out.
I feel like everybody's asking like really hyper specific questions that we never really considered. Dante.
oh wow, it's 2021 all over again. People asking me hyper specific questions. I'm like, I don't care.
What did
I do not care.
Dante? What did
Pug's got
Professor
questions for
Zarek
me.
mean when he said Zarek was stalling?
Huh?
What did Professor Zarek mean when he said Zarek was stalling? I think he means in the post-cred scene.
He did say. Who's asking that?
Dante.
What? Oh my god. I must have missed that one.
Karov asks, for any conceptualized ideas you have for your own future projects, if they end up not being released for any reason, would you publish them online to give your audience context?
My sister has a mantra she repeats often. It's not that deep. It really isn't. Like,
It really isn't.
it genuinely isn't. Like, sometimes people are just reading too deep into things when they really shouldn't be.
Half of our best decisions happen because we're stupid.
Honestly, like, the ability to just completely fuck something up and then retroactively make it look intentional is a very valuable skill to have if you're a creative type.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I do that so much.
Listen,
God
listen.
help me.
Nobody has to know that it wasn't intentional. Nobody has to know. It's fine.
I'm kind of reminded.
fine.
I'm kind of reminded by a video made by the director of the Shazam movies, Annabelle Creation, Lights Out, and he was talking about like trying to cover up mistakes and like how at least some stuff was like made on the fly because of certain decisions, and some people think some of that stuff was intentional. It's an interesting watch.
I feel like if it's a multi-million-dollar blockbuster movie you're trying to make, I don't know if that idea necessarily holds up as well.
It's interesting to think of. So it's interesting to think about from the creative's perspective of like things coming up and like dealing with it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I think one of them was like, oh
just
shoot,
a
the
few
camera
guys
people.
playing,
Oh shoot, the camera people on the scene. We're just gonna cover them up with like janitor stuff and pretend they're janitors. That was one example, as I heard.
Yeah, just curious if
People
there was
make
any deeper
mistakes,
thought
things
on that
happens.
front as someone who's also a big creative. Sometimes there's like deeper stuff that people miss, and then sometimes people ask me if it's possible for a collector to die if they trip, fall, and like hit their spike on a wall or something, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care.
It's up to the writer.
Collector's spikes come out when you say they come out. That's how it works.
Yeah.
What you say will destroy a collector spike is what destroys a collector spike.
Mm-hmm.
What's
Exactly.
ultimately the answer will usually be do whatever's best for your story, unless it completely breaks the rules or completely breaks the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, Arcstone is in here. Wait, yes, we're American.
well,
I'm
me and
Canadian.
Shade are American. Yeah,
What?
Arcstone's Canadian.
Oh, he is. Oh, I didn't realize. I'm sorry.
Yeah, hi, I'm Canadian.
Are there some people? At this point, no. All the
Sorry, I
pieces
never
of,
said anything about that.
All the pieces of Lucarian are back together, Sin. Let's see. Pug wants to know more about what Arcstone's got planned. Was there a version of the Ironclad Warrior that featured
Read some of
Bodero
those
or
books.
anything? Is it Chris's special canon because he is mentioned?
Okay, complicated again. That's as usual. I am in a strange state of limbo with my future post-Cataclysm projects because as I said, I have a lot planned, and I want to get it done. So something I've been considering doing.
I know for a fact there's at least one you're working on now, right?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, I'm working on that.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
For a second.
Yeah,
Excellent. Cool.
don't worry about it. But yeah, that's gonna be done normally. I'm considering a format change where I present my future episodes of the Cataclysm story in kind of an audio drama format with some visual elements, where mostly with photography, where I take photos of my mocks in certain situations and just overlay audio to save time. Then possibly ask my community which scenes from each episode they want me to animate. And the thing about Bodero is that Bodero was created after I finished Ironclad Warlord. He was supposed to be a throwaway character for future storylines, and he is still a throwaway character for future storylines.
And he said he somehow lasted very
now,
long in my Hunger Games. Somehow.
He's going to be your most popular character somehow.
Oh, 100%. Shade, actually, I was going to ask you, do you want to voice Bodero?
What type of voice are you looking for?
I was thinking, kind of a little bit like your Zelkron voice, but dumber.
Like Zelkron if he huffed too much paint.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh, that's great.
Oh dear. Blue Ink asks, by the way, is Jason some kind of political leader for his people, or he's just walking around? I'm pretty sure he wasn't a political leader.
I mean, he was, and then his universe got blown up twice.
Oh, I forgot about that.
So he's, and then he went out to get milk and hasn't come back yet.
I don't know. I guess about Bloodstreak. I guess the most funny moments we had making the call up was like at the beginning when everything was young and fresh and like we weren't burnt out. I can't really think of any like actual funny moments making the collab, but that's when there was most fun.
About funny moments in the videos or funny moments during the process?
I think they're talking about making the collab.
Okay.
Yeah, I got nothing for funny moments.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. I mean, it was a 3-year process, and I'm bound to forget a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I think the funniest moment for me was when I got recruited, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I built that Singularity MOV in what was apparently a fit of mania. And then I think I went off to do something. I think I went to work. I don't exactly remember what the situation was on that particular day.
Okay. Oh.
But then I checked my phone. I got a DM from ManiaMac, basically saying, "Hey, saw your Singularity MOV. You'll want to work on the finale." And in that moment, I felt like Neil Gaiman when Terry Pratchett asked him if he wanted to collaborate on Good Omens.
Jimmy McDonald, wasn't Time Undone supposed to be like this
Absolutely
audio
surreal.
format?
Yeah, sure, I'll get around to that at some point, probably.
Which means probably not, I don't know.
Listen, I will consider it after I make the video I've wanted to make for literally a fucking decade, then I'll get back to that, probably.
Dante, okay, you were talking about Old Man Zarek, not Professor Zarek. The Old Man Zarek World by the Lens talking to Xeris Lucarian and said Zarek was stalling Volcross. I think he was I think we were talking about like we ripped out the spike, but Volcross is still gonna potentially come back eventually. That's why we destroyed the collector's home dimension. That's what we were talking about by stalling.
Yeah, they didn't know Volcross was still alive. I mean, he turned out to be right on both counts. Like, all it did was temporarily stall Volcross.
Yep.
He's still around, still alive.
Man,
Still kicking.
Man, Volcross might be like the hardest collector to kill out of like all of them, because even though he technically still obeys the rule where you have to rip his spike out to kill him, he found out this bullshit like hack basically where right before he dies, he just projects his soul into another body and then just waits, and then he can just regenerate later, spike and all. So the only way to kill him is to rip his spike out before he can transfer his energy form. And good luck doing that, because he has super speed and is also way smarter than you are.
Hey, Speed Halo. We're probably not gonna take much longer.
Volcross is busted.
Volcross is so busted. It's so bad.
No pan. Mac does not work at McDonald's. He is in the Navy.
Yep.
Hang on, excuse me for 1 minute.
That's fine. Honestly, it's probably best we wrap things up soon, anyways. When
I'm hungry. I need to go get dinner.
Yeah, when Arcstone gets back, we'll close things out. I mean, to be fair, we've been going for like 2.5 hours. That's longer than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also because of like answering all the. But that's.
Oh, that would be funny, wouldn't it? No. It is some small mercy that Volcross didn't get access to a Vestal or Beckham. Well, he did get Beckham, just not in the way he really expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Derek was like, "Oh, you want Beckham? Wish granted." And then everything died.
Here's Beckham.
Everyone died.
Take a good look.
Once there was an ugly Vestal who was so ugly that everyone died. The end.
I still remember when Calitraz animated that. I miss him doing stop motions.
Miss Calitraz.
I see him. I see his work sometimes on Instagram, but even then he doesn't post much. Yeah.
I got into BioTube after he left, and I still miss him. His work is very like. Yeah, you described it as charming, Shade, I think. And I think that really is the best word for it.
Charming is definitely a good way to describe it.
Yeah, but yeah, currently if you want to see more of his stuff, his Instagram is probably the best place to look. But yeah, anyways, I think that's going to wrap things up for tonight. Mac's hungry, but been here for 2.5 hours. I got some stuff I want to...
I was hungry an hour ago. Do you have any idea how many calories I need to function?
Yeah. Derek thinks Spider-Man keep going with a text subtitles. I almost read. I think I almost said that as sex for some reason. But anyways, yeah.
I eat enough in one day to feed an entire North Korean family for a week. I'm starving.
Yeah. So we'll make sure Mac doesn't like eat
a burger, Mac. Actually, I had a burger for lunch today. For dinner, I think I will get something else.
Yeah. So we're gonna close things out. Thanks for everybody for stopping by. Thanks to Mac and Arcstone for joining me in the discussion. And
yeah, it was great to be here.
It was a fun chat.
This was very fun. Yes, we should do this again.
Anyways, take care. Until next time, take care, everyone.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Let me get over. There we go. And stream.